All right. And just like that, we are live here on twitch.tv. We got echo. We got echo. Please hold. There we go. We are live here on twitch.tv/Perry Von Vicious, doing a bit of a workshop Wednesday in our digital workshop here. I've pulled up Tinkercad because it is time to do a little making of some toys here. And specifically, I got a few things I want to try to create from scratch and to recreate for those that have followed for a while. I have a whole bunch of these. These are the bodies from different die-cast monster trucks, and we need to make some chassis and some tires for them. I actually ordered some metal rods. I'm gonna be doing actual metal axles in my new toy designs. I used to 3D print all in one the axle and tires already as part of the design. I'm trying to make these a little bit more durable than they've been in the past. So that's the goal here. But I do have a bunch that I want to work on. I have this one that I unearthed down in the basement, and for that one, I'm kind of thinking I might make it a monster tank. I do have a previous design of some tank treads that I think could look pretty cool there. So that's one idea. Hey, Cody Brooks rolling in. Good to see you, pal. Um, and then yeah, I have a few other bodies, but one thing I definitely want to work on, it's been on my list forever, and if I get it out of the way now, I can actually make some parts for some of my trucks in my collection that are missing parts. This truck, this Bigfoot, is from the 1992 Bigfoot Champions series by Hot Wheels. And this particular series was so cool because it did one of my favorite things. It was modular. These tires come off and it reveals the little transport tires. So they had a trailer that the whole truck could fit in with the tires off, just like real ones. Or if you wanted to run dualies, double tires, these actually click into those tires so that you could have double tires. And I need to make some replacements for those because I don't really have enough of these tires for the trucks I have from this collection. But they also had an alternate version that was a size I liked a little bit better because it made it look a little more to scale with the Matchbox superchargers. And that also would just click right on the same way. You can see it's a bit bigger. And I don't have enough of those. I have three of those right now. I need four, so I need to print one that'll go on a truck that's desperately in need of it. Now these are a little bit tricky because they do have you'll see back here these little clips that clip into each other, and this hole that slides on here has to be like a really nice snug fit so they don't fall off. So it's a little tricky. So I'm gonna have to take some very careful measurements, and for regular viewers of the toy making stream, uh, you will know that I take very detailed measurements with a pair of digital calipers. These things have been just awesome. You can see they have a very clear readout on there. Just awesome to work with. Um, yeah, get it into metrics so that when we're in Tinkercad here, everything works smoothly. So I think what I want to do is I think I want to start working on these tires. Now these tires are two parts. There's like an inside part and a rubber outside part. And I could print them like that. I could print them as a single piece. Um, if I print them as two separate pieces, I don't have to paint them. But if I print this little inner piece as its own, it's a very thin piece of plastic, and that can be really tricky. I would probably want to resin print this, and yeah, again, that's really tricky. So I think I'm probably going to design it all as one piece, and that shouldn't be too hard. So that's the thing we're going to attempt first. So I'm here in Tinkercad. If you haven't seen Tinkercad before, Tinkercad is a free tool that is it's great for 3D. So there's 3D modeling and 3D sculpting. 3D modeling is building a model. It's very geometric. It's not very organic. Think the shape of a truck versus the shape of a person. Um, it's great for that. This tool is actually developed for little kids who are learning 3D modeling and circuit making for the first time. But it is a free web browser based tool, and it's a great jumping in point for beginners. And even when you get a little more advanced, like the stuff I do, it works really well. Um, all right, so we're gonna call this Bigfoot Hot Wheels Champions Big Tires. Now there I should say in this particular set there was the big tires, there was the little tires, and then there was the Bigfoot 5 tires. So we're going the middle ground here. Oh, Adam NX67 in the house. Oh, Soda Pop just subscribed. I know Soda Pop. Welcome. Welcome aboard. Soda Pop I know well from over on Frank Halley's stream and with the big dogs. So happy to see you. But yeah, we're attempting to remake some of the parts I need to complete my Bigfoot Champions 1992 Hot Wheels series. Soda Pop discovering the Perry face right away. Well, welcome aboard. You're gonna have some fun with us because we do some cool watch-alongs. We do some good gameplay. See, I like the middle-sized tires. I agree. I like the middle-sized tires on this set a lot. They're very similar in scale to the Matchbox Supercharger series, which was the series that I had as a little kid because I'm old. So I absolutely love those. And again, for those just tuning in on the project, I build my own chassis for different die casts to make my own monster trucks. And I've got bits and pieces of some other projects here. You'll see me in the corner. This is a torn apart Hot Wheels truck that I have that I'm really thinking we're gonna turn into a monster tank. We're gonna put some tank treads on there, and we're gonna get that looking cool down in one of the workshop days. But for now, we are getting started recreating this specific tire for the Bigfoot Hot Wheels Champions series from 1992. So first thing I'm going to do, just going to go ahead and drag in a cylinder. We're going to increase the size. Now what this does, if you've never seen it, tune in. You see how it's all clunky and chunky here? The more sides we give it, the smoother it gets, and that's really what we want. All right. So I've got my digital calipers here. I could turn it into Car Killer was one of the first ones that jumped out at me as a potential for that. So I'm going to get our diameter on this tire. I need to replace the batteries in this thing, which appears to be about 29, about 30. We're going to call it 30 millimeters. And that's real easy to do. We're going to just, right there, boom. We're going to click here, and that opens this up, and boom. And I'm considering this to just be the sort of meat part of this, the actual like piece, because you see it does come out a little bit in the back there with these little clips. So found a Hot Wheels train. You could put that on the tank treads and call it the Orange Blossom Special. Oh, we may have to. There are some train models on like Thingiverse, so we might be able to 3D print our own. For those, I'm gonna be jumping back and forth a lot here. I'm going to show the Orange Blossom Special that Adam NX67 is referring to because it is a classic of monster trucks and a truly bizarre creation. There we go. Drag it over into frame here. That is the Orange Blossom Special. And how cool is that? I mean, that's it's so sick. What a great idea. We got gift subs flying. Hey, hey, thank you. Thank you, Soda Pop. Much appreciated, my friend. Yeah, Orange Blossom Special is fantastic. I mean, I love the Orange Blossom Special Puller. The Puller really to me was so iconic. Yeah, here it is. Pull that picture and look at that thing. I really need to make my own die-cast scale of this puller. There was a toy of it made that was there's a play school, and I think there's a 1/64th scale. That's the Hot Wheels scale. But I'm never gonna get a hold of one. Those things are so expensive. All right, so now we need I like to go to this sort of more plain view here. Now we need a thickness on this, so we're gonna once again see, once again, I need to hit up a tractor pull sometime soon. It's so crazy. Like I think inherently I knew as a kid that they were a little bit boring, but man, they're super slow as an adult. Like they're so slow. It takes forever. Like, and that's a little bit unkind of me to say that, but I was at one and it was like the reset between pullers took forever. It was a lot. Now, one thing I will get to do, obviously this being a tire, the edges are a bit rounded. It's not a sharp corner like this. And we can do that here with our bevel, which gives us a little bit, and then I believe segments makes it even softer. So we're going to bevel it a little bit. Yeah, there we go. That's our segments. Look at that. That's looking great. Now that has this same kind of profile, and I'm liking that. That's a good start. We're off to a solid start here. Let's see, thickness you say is extra thick, like Thick Daddy Andy Brown. Yeah, I could agree with that. Maybe a cumbersome. Yeah, they can be a little bit slow. All right, so we have our basic shape here. I think I want to add the treads on it first. And the treads on here are not like a traditional, and I don't know how well this is going to show on camera. Oh, it actually looks really good. You can see that sort of traditional monster truck tire tread there. That's not what's on these tires. These have sort of a like alternating straight lines as opposed to that kind of V connection. So that's what we're going to try to emulate here. We want a nice front view on that. All right, so I'm going to bring out just a cube. I actually think I want a top view here. Smaller tires have the traditional treads. The middle ones remind me of like yeah, they're almost like the barefoot treads. I completely agree. Soda Pop, I want to know how you're enjoying the monster truck nerd talk because we get into it here. Uh, I I know you know me from the streams over with Frank, but I am professional wrestler Perry Von Vicious, often referred to as the human monster truck, and I tend to live the gimmick. All right, so now I got to get a really little measurement. I need to know how thick the little lines in this tread are, and on the front, I've got the little that, but that's an exterior measurement. But this you see here, that gives me, if I get it down on my shirt where it's dark, that gives me an exterior or interior measurement. So this should give me a pretty, about there is it. So it looks like it's almost 2 millimeters. Almost. It's like 1.7 millimeters. Oh no, it's about two. It's about 2 millimeters. Okay. We're splitting hairs at that point. I know. So we gotta go two. Boom. Gotta come here. We gotta say two. Boom. And those, of course, those are fairly sharp cuts. So I don't mind keeping that fairly sharp cut. Okay. Let's get a front facing view because we are going to make this a bit shorter just so it's a little less unwieldy. Um, pun not entirely intended. Um, tune down on here and let's see. We go about there. And how deep does it go? Yeah, it goes most of the way in. So we're gonna cut this to like a finer movement here. Hey, Chris Sanders in the house. What's up, bud? Bobby Gilbert rolling in. We got the crew rolling in. Everybody welcome Soda Pop in the chat. Soda Pop hanging out tonight. A friend from over on other streams and other worlds. Yeah, it's been a good stream so far. We're just getting rolling here. See if I can get the I'm giving Soda Pop a shout out, but we're gonna see if I get the number of underscores in Soda Pop correct. I think that's it. I think I did it. These pretzels are making me thirsty. All right. So what we got going on here, we are recreating this specific tire to the 1992 Bigfoot Hot Wheels Champions series. Right now I'm working on getting the tread just right. That looks pretty good. I think we got to make it taller. Although I guess it's not going to really much matter. I'm actually just going to lift it up so I can see it from above. Because now we're gonna use a little bit of trickery here. This is this is where we get creative. So I'm gonna copy that and we're gonna bring it on up to a similar setting on the other side. Okay. And now I'm gonna select both of those, make a copy of those, and I'm gonna rotate them just enough to where I think it makes sense as a tread. And I think we're going to go a little bit proud of where I think it ought to be, like somewhere like there. And now if I hit Control D over and over and over, it repeats what I just did. And watch this. Boom, 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 boom. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, I'm so thrilled with how easy this is going because I've put off making my own version of these tires for fully 5 years since I started 3D printing and doing my own design work. Uh, and just seeing that makes me super happy. And you guys, it's about to get easier. Okay? This is the magic of doing this stuff the way I do it. We're going to get a front view. We're going to select all of them. And now we're going to raise it on up. Well, first I want to get it to like about 0. We want it zeroed out on the ground. Oh, it's showing me how high. Okay, cool. Well, if that's the case, then I'm going to bring it up here. Let's see. We decided this height was 21.5, so we need it to be 10.75 off of the ground if it's going to be half, but we need it to be a little bit more than that. So let's call it 11 even. Yeah, I think that's going to work. Okay, and now we're going to get the flip side of this tread, which you will see on the tire, if the lighting is good, alternates. So it doesn't line up straight across, it's opposite. So the treads kind of do this thing. They're sort of a zipper look. And that's what we got to do here. And it's actually going to be a lot easier than you might think. So we've already selected what I need. And I'm going to hit Control D. And I've just copied those. And now, freehand, we are going to rotate till it fills in the gaps. And now, we're going to lower it down. And the magic starts to come together. Come on. Let's go. Oh, I'm happy with that. That looks fairly well centered on the tire. It's a little tough to tell. Let's see, we went 11 high on the other one. There's a real easy way to make this work. Is we're gonna make this, let's call it 11.6. And then what we're going to do is just go to negative zero point 0.6. And that should make it about even, right? Shouldn't it? Oh no, I'm measuring from the wrong side. All right, we're going to do it by eye because I don't actually care if it's totally perfect because it's a very small piece. Sorcery, I know, right? Crazy how well that all came together. All right, and now if I rotate it, it's starting to look right. Now, of course, we're only getting part of the story here. What we need to do is group the whole dang thing. I'm going to come up here. Now, these are negatives that I've been putting in here. And when we group the whole thing, boom, we're turning it into the tire. Look at that. Come on. That's, I mean, I am stoked with how that's looking. All right. Now we get to do some more stuff very similar to this because we got to make, and I don't know, again, I don't know how well the light's going to get it, but there's a nice little hub. This is sort of like what we see from the outside for the hub. And then this rear hub, this is real important to get just right. There needs to be just the littlest lip on there so that this interior tire here, the travel tires of the Bigfoot Champions, can do this move where they just go right on and then they stay put. But it has to be able to go on and come back off. And that can be tricky. So I think we're going to do the back side of it first. The back side of water if you're a Disney fan. And we all know I'm a Disney fan. All right, so we're going to need, first thing I think I want to make sort of an interior so that it's raised out like this. I think that's going to be important to what we do here. So I come in with another one of these guys. We're going to do the same sort of thing where we're going to increase the sides, get a nice round shape here. And now we just need to make sure that this is a good size here. Call it 15 millimeters. Looks to be the exterior of that part. Yeah, 15 and 15. Bobby Gilbert's watching Dynamite and having a great time, or so it seems. All right, and then this comes up now. You see how it's a little bit proud of this, and I just need to know by how much. Looks like it's about 3.2, 3 point, we'll call it 3.3 millimeters. So we're gonna need to, let's call this 3.3, and this is 21.5. Okay, so that really didn't help me like at all. What I need to do is call this 4.3. Good. And now we're going to come up, we're going to zoom way the heck in so that we can line this exactly with the top there. And then what I'm going to do is take our snap grid to 1 millimeter, and we're going to, one click brings us down. Oh, it only brought us down 0.5. That's weird. Should have brought us down 1. Now it's 1.5. Whoa, why? Why would you do this? Okay, then screw it. We'll go 0.5. We'll just go one more. There we go. So that's what we want there. Now we gotta center it here, which can be a little tricky because here we kind of have to just eye it. Like to me, that looks pretty centered, but it might not be. I think that actually, I think I nailed it. Might have just been good luck with the grid there. All right. So we have that. Now We need to make this interior hole, and then we need to make, I'm actually going to look at the other tires so I can sort of compare because they both have the same cat hairs on these pieces. Both have the same sort of interior business going on. So that's really what I want to try to recreate. So again, this thing has a lot of cool tools built into it. One of them is a depth measurer, and you'll see it just kind of, what? There it goes. Super convenient. So I can just put it here and then let that drip in, and that'll tell me how far down this needs to go. Okay, and it looks like we're looking for a depth of 7.9 millimeters. I'm trying to get these real exact because I don't have a lot of room for error here because this has to be a very snug fit. So we're going to call this 8.9 millimeters tall. And then the interior here, the interior diameter that we're trying to work toward is, let's see, let's make sure we get as close to center. There we go. Looks to be 11.5 millimeters. So that's what we're gonna go with that. Now, the tough part of this is that I know from experience that on the first try this won't work. On the first try, it's going to behave very poorly. It's going to be very difficult, and that's just something that I'm going to have to live with. Okay, let's make that nice and tall. Now let's get on top and make sure this thing is actually lined up. So we're going to bring the snap grid way low. It looks to me like about there is where we want it. That looks very centered to me. I'll be watching the chat. If something doesn't look like it's centered, you please tell me. All right, now we're going to bring this all the way up and back out of there. Make it a fair bit shorter. We said the depth in there was the depth in there is 7.7, it appears. So that's what we need to recreate here. We're going to do that by bringing this down just boop until it touches. And now we're going to set it to 5 millimeters. So one snap gives us 5. Boom. Negative 4.9. Come on. What are you doing to me here? Okay, that'll put us at negative 5. And since we're looking for 7.7, we need another 2.7. We got to go down. So let's call that 2.7. We're going to go 2.8. It doesn't hurt. 1/10 of a millimeter is not going to hurt us. I think it's probably the right bet. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and group this whole thing. And we'll see, we now have our raised bit and we have the part that the tire should bloop, just pop right into. And with any luck, that's going to work really, really well. There's no guarantees. Now, did I add sides to that? I don't know if I did. Let's ungroup it. Yeah, we need to add sides to that. Make it actually round. Okay, now we're good to redo that. Group it. There we go. All right, so now we're getting somewhere. Now what I want to do is flip this whole thing 180 degrees so that we can work on the hub, the sort of showy hub. And I want to match the sizing on this. I think it looks really good. When I have it on the trucks, it reads really nicely on the shelf. Like it has a very cool look. I should mention one of the reasons I'm doing this, apart from just having more of these, because I do have some of these that need these. Um, I also have this Samson body and this Bigfoot Power Wheels body. And these were bodies that were being run in the Penda Points era in the mid 90s, which is exactly what this truck is modeled after. So if I can sort of match this style when I'm recreating things for this and put these tires on them, they'll all look like they fit in the same universe. And God, that itches a part of my brain that really needs it. You know what I mean? All right. So first things first. I noticed there's I don't know, again, I don't know how well it's going to read on camera. There's a concaveness to the way this goes in here. And I want to recreate that. I'm not entirely sure how, but we're going to try. So first thing, I'm going to make the regular interior. And it has sort of a sub lip to it, like many rims do. So let's see. We're going to call that 13 millimeters is the interior there by at its deepest from the top here. And I may not make mine quite as deep. 14.8. We're going to go with 14. So 13 by 14 is what we're looking for. So we're going to bring this in. We're going to add our sides again. We're going to call this 13.5. We'll have it 0.5 proud of the tire just so we get, or I guess 13 was the other measurement. So we're going to actually keep that exact. 13 by 13. And it was 14.8 was about the depth. So we're going to call that, we'll call it 14.5. And we're going to have it stick out. No. 14.5. We're going to have it stick out 0.5 because I'm not going to have it be quite as deep as this. Just so that I have a little more meat in the middle of the tire where the hole in the back from this, because I can see here looking through the light that it's very, very shallow and I want a thicker part on this because I don't want anything to go wrong during the 3D print process. So we'll have it stick out about 0.5 proud. This is, I'm going to do some quick math here. Here we go. It's always exciting to watch a nerd do math on stream. Let's see. So it is 20, this whole piece is 24.8 tall. 24.8 tall. And then we need it to stick up 0.5 out of the top. So plus 0.5 equals. And then 14.5, we need to minus 14.5. So 10.8 up is what we need to go here. About there. Seems a little shallow, but I'm gonna take their word for it. If I put it all together, you know what? I'll do a test fit. I'm gonna show you guys how a test fit works on here. So let's go ahead. We're gonna go top, and now we're gonna do our best to get this even. Again, right now I'm just doing this by eye. Okay, so this needs to go about to there maybe. Nope, looks like it's got to go back a little. Yeah, that's what we want. All right, so that's centered now. And to make sure there's enough space in there, what I'm going to do is group these for now, and then we're gonna undo it in a second. But I just want to make sure. Yeah, it might be a little shallow. I'm going to come up a little north because I don't think that needs to be quite that deep. I really don't. Um, yeah, I'm just gonna taking measurements again, just for my own edification here, just to see. Okay. So yeah, what I'm gonna do right now is ungroup that. I take this piece and I'm just gonna bring it up enough that I think we're given some meat on the inside there. We need thick plastic on the inside, or else we're gonna end up with trouble. We don't want trouble. We want everything to behave well. All right. So that's looking pretty good. What I'm going to do though, because there is this little sub rim here, to create that, go ahead and Control D, make a copy of that. Go with the right hand view, and we're going to raise this up to about here. Yeah, maybe about there. And then I'm going to try a couple things. If I hold Control, nope, that doesn't do it. If I hold Alt, that does it, where it goes out even on both ends. There we go. Oh, it lets it get uneven though. I don't like that. I want this to be, okay, but that is even, and that gives us a little lip. Okay, cool. So that's what I wanted there. Good. I feel good about that. How deep is that? I guess that's probably deep enough. All right. So I'm feeling good about that. You're going to put some lettering on the side of the tires. Ooh, I hadn't thought about it, but if now one of the concerns I do have is that this is very small. I mean, next to a thumbnail, you can see there's not a ton of space there. Um, but if I'm printing these in resin, which I may very well do, I could put some lettering on those tires. You could be the bad influence I need here, Adam NX67. I like the way you're thinking. All right. But what I want to do before that, because I want this sort of dip inside, and I'm not totally sure how to get it to look quite the way I want. But what I think I want to do is bring a sphere in here, put the steps way up high, and then I wanna make it a little bit oblong, I think. I think I want to kind of do like one of these. And then yeah, that's going to be the move. All right, we're going to lift this on up here so that the center of mass is a bit north of everything else. Now, we're going to bring it over and get it centered, question mark. Yeah, that's pretty centered. Oh, no, it's going to move over just a hair. Yeah, that's where we want it. All right, and now in theory, that's going to kind of give us what we're after here. Here we go. Here's the big, wasn't bad influence a monster truck. It was. It was. It certainly was. And here we go. We're gonna see about if we group this, see how it looks, see what we did. I think this is gonna. Oh, come on, look at that. I think that looks really slick. It's a little bit Lego looking, but that's this tread style. Always kind of looks that way. I think that looks really good so far. Now, I don't know if it's going to show on camera that in there there's some detail work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a picture. And we'll see if we can get a good detail picture of what the inside of these tires look like. Oh, actually, yeah, you can kind of see it on this picture of the tank. All right, that's going to work. That's going to be our reference image. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. All right, I'm going to drag this over so you all can see what I'm seeing. And what we're looking at is this part right here, where you see my mouse moving there. In fact, I'm going to zoom in. That sort of interior hub design. We're going to get some detail here. I want this to be worth the time. You know what I mean? So we're going to do our best to recreate that. So the first thing we need is a hub, and I'm just going to do this by eye. I'm not going to do this with the calipers measuring every. Oh, you might be able to see it a little bit better in this tire if I move it around. But I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm not going to measure everything. I'm going to do this by feel. I'm going to see if we can get it to feel right. All right. So we need like a little center hub that's going to be kind of a rounded cylinder kind of shape, and that's most of what we've been working with here. Put those sides all the way up, and actually if it's the center hub, I don't know that it needs to be perfect. Well, we'll keep it as is. All right. Put the segments up and put the bevel way up. Actually, we could probably have beveled this a bit more. I think that actually, yeah, I think we're going to do that. All right, so I'm going to take this whole thing here. We're going to ungroup, we're going to ungroup, we're going to ungroup all the way to there. We're going to grab that and we're going to bring the bevel way up high. Get a look at that. Again, I'm doing this by feel. I'm kind of looking at mine and going, what's the shape here? I think that's good. And let's increase the segments, make it nice and soft. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. All right, and now we can take the whole thing and regroup it. And it should restore everything at once as soon as it goes through. There we go. Yeah, okay. All right. I think that shape looks a lot better like that. I think that is a big improvement. All right, and then this, we're gonna stretch it a little bit tall because it's gonna need to be tall. And then we're gonna make it itty bitty and put it down in the middle there. Um, so for that, I think I wanna let's get it centered first. Yeah, I think I gotta hold the shift if I want it to be even. That looks pretty well centered about there. Let's see. Okay, one down, one over maybe. How's that? Yeah, that's, well, even that's not totally centered. It's got to come over and down, maybe one more. It's close enough. We're going to call that close enough. Again, we're doing a lot of this by feel. All right, so I'm going to bring it way up. We can always bring it back down later. And then holding the shift key, I'm going to shrink the whole thing down. We're going to see if we can get this to where it feels like how this looks. Might even be a little bit smaller than that. Yeah, it might be something like that. All right, and that is sunk down in there. So then now we just got to make it a height that feels right. And I think we're looking at something maybe about there. Something that'll be visible but not like weird. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's looking pretty good. All right. Now I also need to make sure it's not sticking out the bottom. Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay, now I'm gonna make a copy, and it's got I'm going to need to drag that other picture in if I still have it up. Of course I don't. Why would I still have it up? Let's see if I can find a better reference shot. I guess we're working from memory. That's okay. It's got an interior loop of lug nuts essentially, and then an exterior loop. There's sort of an inner loop and an outer loop. And we're gonna do our version of that. Not all of it'll come through in the 3D printing, although on the resin printer, it's pretty high quality. So um, we're gonna do that. I see that the interior loop almost has like its own little like recess kind of thing happening. I'm gonna actually make it a taller bit rather than a lower bit. So for that, I want to take let's just make a copy of that. Control D. Let's get a top view. And I think the best way to do this is to do it like this. We're going to go like to about there. And then I'm going to bring the bevel down to 0, the segments down to 0. And then we're going to shorten this thing way the heck down. Way down to like there. Just enough. I'm actually going to make this a bit taller since I want it to stick out of that. There we go. That's pretty good. All right. This is one of the really nice things about reusing shapes as you go. You keep everything concentric, you keep it all centered. You know, there's a method to the madness here. Okay, so now I'm gonna copy that, raise it way up here, and now we got to make this really little. So I'm gonna shift and take it way, way, way down. We're gonna have to zoom in on it. Take it down just a little more, something like that. Then I am going to make it kind of tall. Tall for what it is anyway. All right, and now that we're here, we can, it's nice and centered. And get it to, yeah, about there. Well, looking at it now, I think we could maybe go a little bigger. No, I think it's about right like that. All right, so now I'm going to take that, click off it for a sec, click back on it. I'm going to Control D to make a copy. And then we're going to do our best to line it up above. I think this one can actually come down just a hair. All right, and now I'm going to take both, Control D, and we're going to do just like we did before. We're going to rotate. I'm going to call it like somewhere about there. And then we can just Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D. And that's close enough for what we need. Like that came out great. I'm so stoked with that. All right, so now I'm just going to reselect them because I didn't lower them down into place. My mistake. Okay, and now I'm going to lower the whole shebang down until it's in. And there we go. Now we have our interior hub done. Come on. We're looking pretty good here. Yo, I am stoked with this. This looks great. I kind of want to separate our interior hub piece from the tire and like print them as multiple pieces, but I know that the piece will be too small and it'll be really finicky. Instead, I'm going to have to paint them very carefully, but we like a good miniature painting stream on this channel, so I'm sure we'll stream that when it's ready. Probably pretty soon. My regular viewers will know that my wrestling schedule lightens up a great deal in the winter months because it's hard to book shows in New England in the winter. It's very unreliable. It's hard for talent to travel. It's hard for venues to stay open. Okay, so now I'm going to make a copy of that. bring it up to about there. And again, I'm just going by feel from what I see here. I'm going to get a little bit better view so we can sink it on down into place. Something like that. Again, we want this to be able to be seen. So it has to be, we have to be able to see it. All right. Click off it, click back on. I'm going to Control D. And now, just as we did before, we're going to get our spacing about where we like it. We're going to click this one. Control D. Ah, okay. We're going to select both. Control D makes our copy. We're going to rotate it out ever so slightly. About there. Yeah, that looks good to me. And then we're just going to Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D. And this should fill up our little... Yeah, real nice. Come on. Let's go. Look, I know this is nerdy, but how can you not think that that's rad? I mean, look at that. Look how good that looks. The rim, everything. Oh, come on. I mean, that's the design here. What's wild about this, what's so cool is I'm as an adult, yeah, right? Thank you. I see Adam at X67 knows. What's so cool about this is these are toys that when I was in maybe the third grade, I spent hours and hours with these toys on the floor playing monster trucks, crushing little matchbox cars, making tracks out of Lego, making tracks out of Play-Doh, and always, even as a little kid, marveling at the little details and how cool it was that this thing I had wasn't exactly the toy, it wasn't exactly the trucks I watched on TV, but that it was like almost a cartoonish representation of the trucks I watched on TV and how neat it was to have my own little version of that. And now to be able to sit here and go like, boom, there it is the best. It's so cool. Let's see. Adam NX67 says, I always either made straight drags or the Louisville figure eight with cars. When I was little, it was the straight drags were pretty common. And usually with the little dirt jump at the beginning, the TNT Motorsports Louisville indoor track, Freedom Hall. Or I would make the Chicago style, two sets of cars, and they would have to go around. Um, all right, so what I'm going to do right now is take this whole shebang here, and it's a lot, group the whole thing, and I'm going to make it like a very light gray to sort of represent our tire here. That looks so good. It's still grouping. It's a lot to ask of Tinkercad, but that is one project for the day done. I'm so psyched about how this came out. Let's see, I didn't really care for Chicago style when I was younger, but I appreciate it more now. Yeah, as you get older, it's a lot more fun. But where I grew up, there was also all the venues were very small, so I had to work with what I could get. Thank you, Soda Pop. I'm so happy with how this turned out. Uh, so now what I want to do, let's see, we're about an hour in. We got some time. I gotta hit the weights when we're done here. Wow. Uh, I've never noticed this before. There's remnants of what appears to be a flea market tied on tag on this axle. I'm going to have to clean that out later. What I would like to do, and I'm going to take all the tires off of this thing so I can do it. I would like to see if I can sort of try to recreate this chassis style so that we can build a little chassis. Specifically, what I'm thinking is for the Bigfoot Power Wheels body. This truck back in the day, and I'm running over to Google image search, my dear friend. Back in the old Penda Points series was I mean one of the top trucks every week. It was a great truck and such a cool look. It was the first time Bigfoot had like flames and stuff. Here we go. There you go. And with that, next to the body they made here, you can really see like they nailed it. Although this is on the trophy truck style body, but good enough for me. I'd like to make a chassis that is reminiscent of this, which is meant to be that same series. Um, and I don't know if that fits in this video or if that's going to be another stream. We could make some additional tires. We could make some tank treads. I think we go with the chassis. I think we give it a shot because what I'm going to end up doing is making a version of this tire that's not meant to clip on. This version that we made with this back end that has this opening, that's meant to work like this, where it'll clip on to my pre-existing toys. But the models I make myself, like this one, will not have the clip on. They're going to have a little metal axle that a small hole in the back of this will suffice, and it'll be glued together, and then it's still able to roll correctly. So essentially, what we would be making for a chassis for this is a connection point up here for this body, and then all of the parts that look the part here, the shocks, the drive shafts, all of that, and the faux axles, even with the little differential center. We'll do all that, and then we want it to just have a hole running straight through here for the little metal axles that I've ordered off of Bezos's website. Um, so I think we'll do that and see what we can make. This one's very detailed. In the past, the ones I've done are from the Matchbox Supercharger series, which has a lot less detail on it. So we are going to call that on this tire, and we are going to go open a new project. All right, here we go. We're going to call this Bigfoot Hot Wheels Champions Chassis. I should have brought a beverage in here with me. Hmm. All right. Boy, it's really getting to be the end of the year. I just watched the ticker go by. Only 2 dates left for the year. If you want to catch me, you can catch me Saturday, December 6th. I'm going from memory because the ticker's not right in front of me. Saturday, December 6th, in, I believe, Amesbury, Mass, for Rad Pro, where I will be wrestling as the casual cyclist, Fresh Youngman. And then a week later, December 13th, Blitzkrieg Pro. I can't officially announce the match yet, but my understanding is I will probably be defending my Blitzkrieg Pro Jensen Championship at that show in Enfield, Connecticut. Last two chances to see Old Pear Bear wrestle in 2025. But I will say 2026, the calendar's already filling up and it's going to be filling up a lot more. We got all kinds of cool stuff cooked up, especially at my home promotion, Pro Wrestling Grind. If you have not already, make sure to follow Pro Wrestling Grind. Their YouTube getting more complete by the day. I help to run that, and follow them on socials. I am the Pro Wrestling Grind Grand Champion, and their off season that they're having right now, they take off the winter months. I will very much enjoy the rest because it has been hard fought championship defenses. I've had some incredible challenges. I thought Fresh Youngman was a different person. That's right, Perry three belts. I'm currently the Grind Grand Champion, the Blitzkrieg Pro Jensen Champion, and the Grind and RPM Metal Fest Best of the Fest Champion 2025. It's been a busy year for old Pear Bear. Three singles championships, all in one year at the ripe old age of 41, if you can believe it. Heavyweight wrestlers don't usually make it into their 40s in the business, in the biz, because it's very trying on us. It's hard on the body, man. All right, so this has a lot of openings in it here. and I'm a little weary about how that's going to print and how that's going to hold together, but we'll see. Bobby Gilbert says 2026 Perry, Michigan debut. Who knows? I had my Milwaukee debut this year over the summer when I went out to see Dr. Redacted and wrestled for We Love Wrestling in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So it's not unheard of. It's been a busy year. I mean, I was in Nova Scotia for Kaizen Pro, all throughout New England all year. You know, I was traveling all over. I was down in Philly. I was in Maine, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York. I wrestled everywhere. That's right. I wrestled in Brooklyn this year. It doesn't even seem like the same year. If we're going lucha, Perry's Trace Cinturone Cintur. I'm never gonna pronounce that correct. I wouldn't pronounce that right if it was in English. All right. So first things first, I'm getting just a length on this piece because we're gonna go bumper to bumper on this. We can always trim them down. That's looking to me like 79.5 is the length. And again, this is going to be adjustable. I'm going to be able to change the size on this because over the years they've actually started to make the bodies a bit bigger and the tire placement has changed. These are a very similar, there we go. It's very similar length. You can sort of see where they end there, the front and back of these. But the tire placement on them has to be a little bit different. It doesn't quite line up one to one. It's got a little bit of a longer wheelbase, as they say. So the length on that, again, I'm just making this very vague. There's no bumpers on those trucks, so that's good. You know what? Let's size it directly to the Bigfoot Power Wheels. We'll skip the resizing. We'll go by this. Wow, it's actually a very similar length. 80.2 is what I'm measuring. So I'm gonna call it 80 even in our boom. And then for width, I do want this to more or less fill the space. So we're gonna go with the interior in the middle is approximately 25 millimeters. Actually, it looks to be about that size all the way to each end. It stays pretty consistent. And if it doesn't totally fill in, I'd rather have it be a little small than a little big because I want it to snug right up into there. So yeah, we are going to call that 25. 25. And then for height on this, this is more or less kind of just making this part up as we go here. I'm thinking it doesn't need to be real thick. We can kind of make up the rest later. We're going to call it about 3 millimeters. Really not big at all. If you make your Michigan debut, please get me tickets. I can't get people free tickets at any of the shows I'm on. I've never gotten anyone free tickets to any show. Indie promotions have no money and therefore no way to get anyone free tickets. All right, so we're going to radius this just a little bit, just soften those edges up. We're going to increase the steps some. That also does sort of a similar thing. All right, there we go. So that is the base from which we are going to work. We're going to be building this upside down. So now we need to sort of build these towers here that are basically the leaves, or at least come meet me. Hey, you got to come to the show. I'll meet you at the show. Why wouldn't I? So we want to build these sort of leaves, and they even do have. I don't know if it's going to read on camera. Maybe a little too bright on the light there, but they have. You can see where the leaf spring is here, and the shocks that are holding it way down and stretched. It's pretty cool that they've gone to the trouble of designing it to look properly like a frame. So let's right now we're going to throw in some dummy axles. We're going to throw in our axles without the holes or anything in them, just as a placeholder so we have our spacing. Um, so again, for these, I want to actually measure this so that I know how wide I want to make that. It's going to be, it actually looks like it's a bit more narrow than the original here. So about the same size is going to work, I think. As long as we keep it pretty tall. That way the tires don't interfere. All right, so we're going to bring this in, and this is going to turn into one of our sort of exterior pieces for an axle. I need to double check the size of the axle pieces that I ordered so that I'm sizing everything correctly. We got about another 20 minutes, 30 minutes here before we're going to call it a stream because old Pear Bear still has to get a workout in today. Last night, workout didn't happen. I went to sleep, you guys. I went to sleep after the stream. I'm not afraid to tell you. I needed it. I still need more sleep, but we got to get one in tonight. All right, let's see. It looks like the pieces I ordered. Come on, tell me what I need to know. They're 2 millimeters in diameter. So, again, doing a little bit of this from memory here. Soda pop. Oh, I love, man. I'm always so happy when people drop different emotes in there. So if it's 2 millimeters, I think we want to go considerably thicker. We need this axle to be pretty close to the thickness on here. Yeah, we're gonna call it six. 6 millimeters ought to give us a little wiggle room there. So we're gonna go first. We're gonna increase the sides way up. Go 6 by 6. And then for width, I honestly think the same width as this is gonna work. I think it's gonna look really good. So we're gonna sort of keep some of these numbers. That's 21 millimeters basically on the nose. I love when things are a nice flat number. All right, there we go. Boom. That's going to be the axle housing. Bobby says, "Who's your favorite ROH World Champion?" It's probably not a commonly said answer, but of the ROH champions that I think I've probably taken the most from and who I feel the most with, not just because I saw a lot of the shows while he was champion in person, but because like I feel like my style's reminiscent of his, or at least I hope it is. Takeshi Morishima, I think, is my favorite ROH world champion. And again, I know that's not a conventional answer about ROH world champions. All right, now we got to get the spacing on this. And this is where it gets tricky. Yeah, this is going to get real tricky. Because it's close to what's already here. I think the front tire might be okay for spacing. The back tire's got to come back a little. All right, so let's whoa, hey now. Let's switch our view. There we go. That's what I'm after. Who? What do you mean who, Bobby? Come on, get with it, man. Takeshi Morishima. Don't you know Pro Wrestling Noah? You're talking about Kenta all the time. You talk about Kenta, you don't know Morishima? Jeez Louise, Bobby Gilbert. Holy moly. Yeah, I don't even know what to say to you right now. I, I, I thank you, Adam at X67. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're going to try to center that as best we can. That looks fairly well centered. Let's get a good close up on it. Yeah, maybe it needs to come over a little bit, but I think it's pretty good. Boy, this may need to be a little bit wider. No, I think it's okay. Yeah, it might be all right. All right, so let's get our side view here. And now this rear one, And what I'm doing here off camera, what you can't see. Oh, I didn't hear you, lol. I know more. Okay, there you go, Bobby. That's what I'm talking about. Is I'm sort of mirroring these two bodies so that I can see where these tires are going to fit in comparison to this body. So like if I really line them up straight, I can see the front tire looks good. The rear tire needs to come back a little bit. So we can keep the front, which this is going to get confusing real quick. So I'm going to take this whole thing and turn it 90 degrees so that things are actually labeled the right way. So that when we're looking at our little cube, this is the front. Okay, so from the side, I want this to come back, depending on what it's measuring from. Yeah, let's see. Let's do come to about there. Get it about so the center is on with it. And I want this to come back, let's call it 13 millimeters, 13.5. Yeah, we'll call that 13 millimeters. So we got it snapping by single millimeters right now. So let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3. That should do it. Let's see. Adam at X67 says, "What is your favorite mid-card championship?" Ooh, I hate to relegate it this way, but I think the WCW Cruiserweight is probably my favorite mid-card. But I'm you know what, my favorite mid-card belt? Yeah, it might be the WCW Cruiserweight. Boy, that's I mean, obviously the Intercontinental is probably the most important mid-card belt. Like it'd be really hard to argue that. Let's see. So if we're going to match the height here, we're going to want this to be like 18 millimeters up from there. So let's bring this down till it touches. And now we're going to go. There we go. Our side view. Click off, click on. And now we want to go up 18 from where we started. I think that should be pretty good. Morishima is 6 years older than me. He's also been retired now for like a decade or maybe more. He's had a hard life. Reading his story, wrestling was unkind to him, and addiction problems were not good for him. And yeah, Morishima has had a rough go of it, and I feel for him because I really like Morishima. Yeah, I think it's mostly on his Wikipedia, and if it's not, it's easy to find. But he's had a rough go of it. European belt is a great mid card belt. Yeah, that's a great choice. All right, so that's going to be axle one. Now we got to figure out placement for the other one here. And I'm trying to think because again, I'm just eyeing all this in my hands and kind of, oh, that's where the best viewers are. Thank you, likely raindrop bot, whatever the crap you're called. Okay, so if that's going to be about there, I think we really want this to be like here or so, even a little bit more. Yeah, again, what you're not seeing off camera is just me desperately trying to space this just right. So we're going to call that like, it's 48.8. We're going to call it 49. Oh, you're watching Kim Justice is a great YouTube channel. So 49 back from center. So we're going to control D and then holding shift, we're going to bring it over by 49. That's 49.5. Whoa, hey now. So that's 49.5 back, which is too much. Click off, click on, and then boom. That should do it. All right, let's make sure we didn't break anything, that everything's where we want it. Okay, good, good and centered. Those are our axles. And I feel good about those. We are eventually going to put holes through the center that are big enough for the axles that I ordered, the little metal axles that'll go into the tires. Um, but for now, we need to build out the rest of the chassis here. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. It's a very complicated shape, and there's a lot of details that go on it. I think the most important thing is getting, essentially it's two triangles, right? Where, let me get myself on camera. Two triangles, and then down the middle there's like a big empty space. And I can either do that by making the triangles on their own, which I think I'm going to have to do, or I could have done it by putting like a box, an empty box down the center. I think I'm just going to go piece by piece though. I think making those individual uprights is the way to do this. Yeah. I feel good about this plan. I feel good about this plan. Now, one thing that's cool, I haven't talked about this much. The limitations with the ways that I designed these previously. And I'm going to show you one of my old designs here for a comparison. One of the limitations I've had is in painting and in my color options, because make I can't really make the chassis a different color from the tires, because I can't get a paintbrush in between the tires and chassis because it all prints as one piece. But by having this separate axle to attach the tires, I can print the tires in black so that they look like tires, and then just paint the hub. Super easy to do. And the chassis will be its own part on its own that I can paint before I do all the rest of the construction. So this is really going to open me up to doing things in a much better way. Hey, hey, Herobotic rolling in. But yeah, this was how these were printing previously, where it was all sort of one piece. And now we're going to do it where the chassis is by itself, no tires, no interior axle, and we will install those after printing. So we're working on the lower half here. So I am going to get a few measurements. First, I need to bring this wedge shape out here. We haven't worked with this one a whole lot. Hero Botic rolling into the chat, who got his very first tickets ever to see Weird Al Yankovic. We'll be at the same show. Bought his tickets last night. Let's see some cheers and emotes in the chat for Hero Botic finally getting out to see Weird Al Yankovic. Okay, so 27.19 is about the width that we're looking at here at the base of our piece. Thank you, Soda Pop. Hell yeah. So we're gonna call it like 27.5 because we're gonna go slightly down into what we've designed there. Bobby with the angry Perry face. Great stuff. Are these two different sizes? 24.85, and then the rear is, wow, they are. They're two different sizes, the front and rear. I wouldn't have noticed that. All right, so we're going to do the rear first. It's 27.5 is what we're doing. That was the number we came up with. 27.5. Boom. And then the width on this, I think, is a pretty good width. I might go a little bit thicker, but we'll see. 3.6. 3.6. I think that works for me. 0.6. And then the height, I kind of have to eyeball here. I want it to be pretty tall. 19.25. I'm going to call it 19 because it's probably going to be close enough. Your table manners are a crying shame. You're playing with your food, this ain't some kind of game. Now if you starve to death, you'll just have yourself to blame, so eat it. Don't you tell me you're full. I'm so stoked. I'm so psyched. Look, I've seen Weird Al on every tour since I was in the ninth grade. And I still get incredibly excited when these concerts roll around. Herobotic's known me for a very long time. My Al obsession is a very, very serious matter to me. Um, I'm very excited that I'm getting to share it with an old friend. All right. And I want a little more meat on the bone to connect these here. So I think I kind of got to come in with some other shape. But for now, let's ooh, that's right. I got to see how far in these need to go. Ooh, yeah, I'm kind of this is the part I get to make up as I go here. I think if these are supposed to be interior, maybe yeah, I'm kind of just I think I'm just eyeballing these just to kind of try to get them right. Let's see. Well, they kind of come right up to the edge, so we'll do the same. We'll kind of match it. Maybe come back just a hair because we're gonna have a little bit of design on the edge of this. We haven't. There's a little bit of like cool design work that we've not yet done. Now I'm trying to think, how do I get a little more meat to connect here? And I think I just need to drop something in here. Yeah, I think I know what I'll do. I think I'm gonna get a right hand view. We're gonna take this axle. We're gonna Control D to make a copy. Oh, and then I'm gonna drop it down a little ways. Zoom way the heck in. We're gonna bring it so it just meets up, and then we're going to do the same thing on the interior, just to like right there. And now I think I kind of want to squish it down or stretch it long. Yeah, maybe that's what I want to do. Let's see. I want this to be like kind of an odd shape, and it certainly is that. There we go. I think that's about how I want it because I wanted more meat there. You know what I mean? I wanted when this plastic prints, I don't want it to be like trying to snap all the time. And admittedly, we'll add some more structural stuff here that should help it. But I just, I know how 3D printed plastic behaves. I've been designing my own toys for a number of years now, and I thankfully can see problem areas before they reveal themselves. So now we're going to Control D, copy those. And we're going to bring it over and just, again, just by eye, more or less, match it on the other side. And I think that's pretty well matched. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select those. I'm going to Control D, get a right hand view, zoom way the heck out. We're going to drag that whole mess over, center on the object, get it to center with that piece. And now we're going to correct for the fact that this is a different shape than this. These two pieces are slightly different from each other. And when you're like me and you're a perfectionist, that matters. Okay, so this whole piece needs to be about 24.4. So let's, yeah, we got to come in a little ways on that. Is that right? Did I measure? Is that the big one or the little one? Yeah. So let's hit that and then you know what we're going to do? We're going to deselect. We're just going to pick these two. We don't want to change that top piece. Okay, and we're going to call this 24. And that's more what we're looking for. We're going to get that nice and centered again. There we go. That looks good. That's the look we're looking for. All right. Cool. Great. And it's possible that I may end up deleting some of these and redoing them so that I can kind of do the design. But right now, I want the layout. I want to see what I'm working with. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping to finish this before the stream lets out. We're gonna go 10, 15 more minutes, but we do have more work to do here, so we'll see how it goes. Um, all right, now I want to go ahead and add our shocks, and there's a little bit of some detail that I'm gonna put in here. And we're gonna focus on just one for now, and that's gonna be where we start this. So I need to make there's sort of a specific shape that I need here, and it's very similar to one of these. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna rotate that 90 degrees, bring it a fair bit closer. Let's see if we're working upside down. This is more or less the shape we need. Okay, cool. So now I'm just going by feel. This is the artistry part. Let's see. If I was a famous musician that made it big, I would have my agent get on the phone with Weird Al because you haven't completely made it until he parodies one of your songs. Hey, you you're not gonna have to sell me on that take. I am in agreement. Um, all right, so let's see. I want to come like just about like there. Then we're gonna bring it till it's roughly centered. We want this to stretch pretty deep. So we're actually gonna, can I bring this in some and in some? Let's get our view here. We're actually gonna take it back just a little. Bring it down just a hair. Bring it there. Cool. Now we want a little bit of a side view here. We're going to turn it into a negative. And now we just want to make a little bit of an indent here. So let's get our side view and make sure we're not getting too deep here. Just a little indent. Just creating sort of a shape here. So now I'm going to take these, I'm going to take that, and we're going to group that. Yeah, we just want that indent. And again, I'm going just by what I see on here because next we're adding our shocks, which I think is going to be a pretty cool way to make a lot of detail on this chassis. Now, of course, I'm also trying to keep in mind that once the tires are on here, a lot of the detail here is hidden. So some of this I'm not gonna worry too much about. And you can sort of see that here, like all this detail, because mine aren't going to be detachable. They have lug nuts and stuff on the back end here, all kinds of lower shock detail. But mine, the tires will not come off. And once those big tires are on there, you can really only see the upper part. So I'm not going to put a ton of work into what goes on the lower part of this. It'll still be there, but I'm not going to stress too much if it's not exact. Let's see, Adamatic67 says, it's crazy how Weird Al's career almost came to an end after UHF before he had a renaissance, so smells like Nirvana. Weird Al had sort of 1-2 punch of releasing the album Polka Party. That was his worst selling album. Uh, Followed immediately by UHF, which was, at the time, unbelievably to me, a flop. Um, and yeah, that's a rough 1-2 punch. Um, and if memory serves, I get a little confused on the order his albums came out. Hang on. If memory serves, let's see. Show them chronologically, why don't you? Jeez. Yeah, Polka Party was 86. And then he had a little comeback. He had a little comeback because Even Worse came out and Fat was a big hit. And then he followed Even Worse with UHF, which did not go well. And then that immediately was followed up by Off the Deep End in '92, like a 2 year break in between, where he had Smells Like Nirvana. So yeah, Al liked to joke on his behind the music special that every album was sort of a comeback album for him. All right, so now we're making these shocks, and these are going to be pretty easy to make, I think. It's one of the nice things about what we're doing here in Tinkercad is this is all very geometric. It's not organic shapes like Get All. Um, okay, so these can be very crude. We need to make it very long, but then very skinny. Somewhere like there is probably going to be what we're looking at. I'm going to make, it looks like it's sort of pairs of two. There's four to each wheel. So what I'm going to do is make these like normal first, and then then we'll put them at their funky angles. Yeah, I think that'll work. All right, so we got that piece. Then we're gonna Control D, and we're gonna make this one significantly shorter, but then a little bit fatter. Also gonna bevel it pretty good. Let's get a close up on what I'm doing here. Really get a yeah, that looks good. All right, and then we just got a top. We're gonna and this really doesn't have to be totally centered because this is gonna be such a teensy little detail. There we go. All right, and we're gonna bring this up just about to there. Again, this is the part that I'm doing by eye. This is really kind of the fun part. See, I'm just glad that Coolio buried the hatchet and made peace with Al before he passed. Yeah, Coolio and Al had made peace a lot earlier than most people think. But it only came out years later. It should have been more obvious because very shortly after the album, the two of them presented an award together at, I believe it was the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards, where Al was sort of dressed as Coolio, and they presented it together and everything was fine. But, the story had been such a big deal that no one really realized that they were okay. All right, so Control D, we're going to copy that. Let's get a view from here. We're going to pop it 90 degrees, lower it all the way to ground level, give or take. And then let's see. Well, I've sort of made like a candle pin bowling pin here. So we're going to bring that back to like there. It can be kind of long, it doesn't matter. And then this piece is going to come to about there. Maybe even a little less. Maybe like there. And again, I'm making a lot of detail here purely because I care about how this looks, and there's no good reason for it. Like there's no reason for me to care this much about how this looks. Um, all right, so Control D, I'm going to copy that. No, no, Control Z. Take that Control D, copy that piece. Now holding Shift, I'm going to make this a bit smaller. See if we can get a nice front view here. Raise it up some. And then we're going to bring it. Nope. raise it up, get a side view, and then we're gonna bring it forward a bit so we can see it a bit more. I just want to center that. There we go. Dang, that looks good. I kind of want to put the ones at the bottom now too, because I can make them all as one piece on these shocks. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get crazy, huh? All right. So first thing I got to do is actually put this whole piece in place. So let's, without grouping this just yet, I'm going to get us our side view. Come up, come back, and then let's figure out our angles here. Call that about there, which means we need to come, let's go about there. And then we're gonna bring it there-ish. This is, I can't tell you how glad I am to finally be doing this. I put this little project off for quite some time. All right, so now what I'm gonna do, deselect, I'm gonna pick this, pick that. I'm gonna Control D. Now we're gonna bring it up, and we're gonna put it on the end of the shock here. Yeah, that's lined up pretty well. And let's bring it up top of the shock. Go to the front, and there we go. And again, I'm just doing this by feel because the whole back half of this is going to be hidden. This is going to be half submerged into this piece because it just needs to stand out like these little sort of indications of shocks do that you're seeing here. And I am going to have to make a few of these, but for now, let's go ahead and just bring that on back, and we're just gonna get it submerged here, so to speak. Yeah. And now I'm actually going to select all of that, deselect that piece, and deselect. No, actually, that's good. That's good. What I want to do here is go back so that none of this is proud of that top piece there. And this was when I was saying I'm going to end up having to delete a bunch of these. This is what I was talking about. So like right now, like that and that can go because we're just going to end up making a mirror of this piece. So let's go ahead and yeah, I think this is going to work. So what I'm going to do is get this whole shock here. Got to deselect a couple bits. There we go. We're gonna group that. We're gonna make that one piece. Good. That looks good. And now I'm actually gonna make the angle a little bit more extreme. Bring it over just a hair. And now we're gonna Control D. Make the angle slightly less extreme. Oh, no, no, no. Don't want to do that. And now we're gonna lower that piece. Yeah. See, now again, you're getting just this is me being artistic. This is me figuring out how I want this to look as I'm making it. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. In fact, I can probably go, yeah, just that way a little bit. That looks good to me. So now I'm going to take that, and I'm going to take that. Control D. I'm going to flip this direction. And now we're just going to just fit it in opposite. And if they kind of mesh into each other again, this part here is all hidden by the tires, so you're not going to see it. But I'm happy with how that's looking. I think that looks great. Yeah, that looks really good. Okay, I'm going to undo that. I'm gonna, well, hey now, don't get crazy on me. I'm gonna bring that down a bit and then bring this up a bit because we want that all hooking into the actual chassis there. And then I'm actually going to Control D. We're gonna flip that piece that way. Again, now you're seeing the artist in me come out. This is where I'm making it up, very much making it up as I go. Yeah, we're just about to the shape we want. There we go. That's good. All right, so now I'm gonna pick that one, pick that one, pick that one. We're gonna group that. And this is where the grouping actually, the order matters. Okay. So now I'm gonna select that whole mess. We're gonna group that. Good. So now I'm gonna take this piece, Control D, going to flip that way. And then we're going to match it over on this side. And I want that stuff to just be on the interior there. There we go. Yeah, that looks good to me. So now I'm going to come back here and I'm going to leave the one on that side just for sizing's sake. But I'm going to go 1, 2, Control D, slide it on down. Once again, I'm going to get it centered here. And then I'm going to match that side to this side. Deselect, I'm going to take that, get rid of that. Work with me here. And then I want to take that and lose that. There we go. All right, now it's coming together. You can see what the goal was here. Now we still have our transmission. We still have drive shafts to do, some detailing on the axles. Um, but I think we've got to call it there because I got to get my workout in tonight. And instead, I'm gonna call an audible and say I think we're gonna go live again tomorrow night around a similar time, so that we can finish this up because I'm real happy with how this is coming along. For right now, I'm gonna take the whole thing, turn it kind of like a light gray, get that uh get that chassis look going on, because that's these came in a light gray. I may do mine in silver when I print them. We'll see. But I'm so psyched with how the everything here is looking. We've got the indications of the old leaf springs. We've got the shocks on here. We've got our axle housings begun. So it's a great start on this, and I'm so glad with how it's going. And shout out to Soda Pop for joining us. Shout out Adam NX67 bringing his monster truck expertise. Shout out Bobby Gilbert for giving us updates on Dynamite. And because I like to be a good brother, I'm gonna see if there's anybody out there who's streaming that we should hop out and go check out. You know what we are? We're gonna raid the Grizz crew Uh, the Grizz crew, great sponsors of Blitzkrieg Pro. Great guys. They do some fantastic fundraisers for different mental health causes, autism awareness, epilepsy, all kinds of cool stuff on their stream. And they're streaming right now. So we are going to go hang out with them. And when you hop over, throw some of my emotes in the chat. They'll know. They champ Monster Truck when I come to the ring at Blitzkrieg Pro in Connecticut. So let's go hang out with them and throw some monster trucks in the chat when we arrive. Let them know that we rolled in like a wrecking ball. I will see you all over there. All right. Once again, thank you all for coming. I'll be back on tomorrow night, 8-ish, 8:30. We'll see. All right. Catch you guys later. All right. We are live here on twitch.tv/Perry Von Vicious. If you're joining me here on a rare Thursday night, Perry, thanks for coming and hanging out. Gotta hydrate. We are continuing our quest here to recreate some of the famous 1992 Hot Wheels Bigfoot Champions series. Yesterday, we were working on making a replica of this tire. Today, we're continuing work on the chassis because the goal here is to make a chassis we can print that we can then put the die-cast bodies from modern Hot Wheels monster trucks on. And yeah, so far so good. We've done some good work. The tires yesterday were a big success. Hey, Nickabean's in the chat. Right away, right off the bat, you were there, you were ready. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so we have here sort of the beginning of this chassis, and again, if I give you a bit of a close-up, you can see the shocks and everything that we sort of have working. We're basically building upside down. Hey, Rye. Yeah, we got the crew rolling in today. Boy, the two of you are going to be. I'm your only Twitch notification. Well, when at the end of this stream, we're gonna raid another channel that I'm very excited to raid. It'll be a first time. One of my very favorites, Brian Abu Chakra, also known as King Lord Brian on the internet. He's a Mega 64 adjacent, part of their whole crew there. He has a great Twitch channel where he plays it's video happy hour he calls it, where people can suggest video clips and things to watch along or music videos, and he's got an eclectic, awesome, super fun taste in music, and other people make great suggestions. He calls it KLBR, King Lord Brian Radio, and it is a great time. So we're gonna head there when this wraps up. For now, though, we are continuing work on our Bigfoot Hot Wheels 1992 chassis. Um, and it's a lot more intricate than the chassis I've done in the past, the Matchbox Supercharger series. This one, when you get a direct underneath view, you can see our drive shafts. We've got the transmission here, the differential in the middle of the axle. So we've got some detail to add still. And I'm excited to work on this. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time. I put it off. I started with the Matchbox Superchargers because those were my first toys when I was a kid, and I really had to have them. But now that I've gotten a little more sophisticated in my design work, I feel like I can dive in and take a crack at making my own version of this. And this is one that I've specifically scaled so that I can take the modern Hot Wheels die casts and put the body on there. So they're a very similar size. In fact, if I put it on top, you can see it's not far off. But the wheelbase is a little different, and there's a lot of things to consider here. Hey, Cody Brooks. I know. A Thursday night Perry. It doesn't happen often, but I was having a really good time doing this design work yesterday, and I thought, why quit now? You know, I really like the way that this is coming together. I like the way the little shocks look. The towers are looking good. The towers are not complete, you know. If we look, I don't even know if it'll show on camera, but if we look very carefully here, there's sort of ridges along the sides, and if you look very carefully, it's because they sort of have the indentation to sort of show. They're called leaf springs. It's the leaves that they use. I'm gonna pull up a reference image here. This is all stuff that when I was young, I didn't know anything about any of this. But I learned a lot more as I got older, and especially after a trip to the Monster Truck Hall of Fame and Museum some time ago, where I was gifted a copy of a book by Kirk Dabney, famous driver of the Overkill monster truck. It's a book called Monster Truck Technology, and it's like a textbook. I mean, it's a coffee table sized book, really thick, and it brings you through the entire history evolution of monster truck technology from the days when it was good old boys building great big trucks under a tree in the back of their farm to nowadays where there are specialized shops that only do this. Everything is designed in CAD. Things are safety tested, stress tested. Parts are specifically manufactured for monster trucks, and it's a really interesting read. This is what I'm talking about here. These leaf springs. Now these exist on a normal car or truck, but on a monster truck they have to stretch them way down like that to fill in the gap that the shocks push out. And if I put this up next to it, you can see that they've given us that exact arc there with those shocks. And there's a part of me that says, just get the design done. Don't worry about that detail. It's so little, it might not even show on a 3D print. But if we're doing this, let's do it, right? I mean, am I wrong on this? Like, I feel like we might be able to make that a little prettier. We're gonna save that though. I'm gonna get everything else kind of built in, and then if we want to redo one of these and resize them, we can. For now, what I want to do, we have some detail to add on the axle here. We've got the center diff housing. We've got to add that, and then we've got to make the drive shafts front and rear going to a transmission in the middle. And as always, I have my digital calipers here. For anyone doing 3D design, it's a cheap investment. I think these are nicer ones. These are steel. I had a plastic pair that worked really well for a long time and still do work if you're just doing it analog. You don't have to use the readout. You can just read the numbers. Um, but yeah, this thing I think was about $20 and the other one I had was like $8. So it's a cheap investment for what it is, but it really lets you get all the sizes just so exact. That said, I'm gonna take a measurement here real quick. We're gonna get a look here. I think our axle housing, it's about 7 millimeters. So I'm gonna go ahead and it looks like this is right down, yeah, dead center of that chassis there. So I'm gonna get us a nice front view here. A little bit off kilter, zoom out a little. I'm gonna bring in a sphere. And I'm gonna bring the sides way up. It doesn't really matter. We could actually put the sides like way low and make it a little chunky because it is metal. Maybe we will do that. Yeah, you know what? That's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna do that. We're gonna give it a chunky kind of feel. Cause why not? Metal fabrication. It's not really a round part. Um, Let me see if I go up one from there. No, that's too geometric. We need that. We need that shape. And I'm going to hold the shift key and bring this till it's about 8 millimeters is what we're looking for here. And again, I may need to resize this. This is, I talked about it yesterday on stream. One of the interesting things about doing this kind of toy making work is that it's like half engineering, half art. You're doing a little bit of just being creative and trying to get something to look right to your eye, but you're also, the parts need to fit together and the parts need to function. So it's a really interesting way of walking that line. Um, to me, my heroes, the thing I would like most in the world to be is an Imagineer, right? Like I would love that. And I think there's a little bit of this in that, there's a little bit of, we're doing our own design, but we're trying to make it fit specs and function correctly. Now we definitely need to go a bit bigger with that. And I may end up going back to a more round shape with it. But let's see. What's going to be a good size here? Let's get a straight on view. I mean, that's pretty good. I do think I actually want to go pretty round on it. Yeah, let's see. We could sort of do like that. That's not that's a little transformery. That doesn't really I think it's either got to be like round, like they pounded it out, or it's got to be like chunky, like they welded plates together. And I think I'm gonna go round because I think that lets me. Now this is again, I'm just eyeing that front diff there and trying to see. Like I think I might be able to go a little smaller on that. But you know what? It's gonna be where a few other pieces connect. So I don't mind it being kind of chunky. It's gonna have to, the plastic is gonna need something to pull against during the printing process. And I think that looks pretty good. Now I just want to make sure I've got the sort of height and everything right on here. I want it to be very centered on that axle. Yeah, from the side it looks a little big. I think we could actually stand to come down a little bit, just like that. And I could sit here and fiddle with it all day, but we're gonna find close enough and call that pretty good. Because it is a piece that purely exists for aesthetics. It's not functional. It's meeting a need. And let's see if I Oh, that gives us an idea of how uneven we are. There we go. All right. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to Control D, make a copy of that. And now we're going to go drop it on the other axle. Okay, and that's going to be about centered. All right. Good enough. I think that's looking pretty good. We're off to a solid start now. Now I want to build our little transmission box here. Oh, oh. my camera froze for a sec. All right. And a lot of that detail you might not be able to make out on camera. I can't really ever tell how well this is focusing. But it is a fairly detailed little piece. And I'm going to try for the first time to print my chassis and everything on my resin printer, which is a little scary. But I'm going to try it. I've never done it before, and I think it's worth giving it a shot. All right. So, I do wanna get like a rough measurement of where this lies in the truck. I see it's a little bit further forward. In this particular era of monster truck, it was the first rear engine monster trucks they were running in the Penda Point series, and the engines actually face backward. The blower or the air intake faces back, and that allows the transmission to sit behind the engine the same way it would if it was a front engine truck. So they didn't have to change a whole lot of where the placement was of the transmission and the drive shafts. All right. Let's getting some reference pictures up. I know I have the object right in front of me, but I really want to see it. Go. I'm also pulling my page up so I can get a good look at everything, make sure the stream's working. All right, we're good. We're still rolling here. All right. So, I'm going to get my calipers here. I'm just going to get a measurement of about how far back this piece is. It's about 35.5 millimeters back. So I'm going to drop in a cube Get it right up to the edge there. And see the size of this actual centerpiece, the little block that all this goes in. Actually, I'm looking at, well, yeah, we'll work around that. All right. Now that I'm looking at it, this piece is about, we're gonna call it 5 millimeters by 5 millimeters. It's a square, so just five, boom, five, five, boom. Just took pizza out of the oven. I do the same thing every Friday. If you're ever interested, I have a great pizza recipe, fully from scratch, dough and all, beginning to end, from when I start it till when it's on the table. About an hour and a half, and most of that time I'm just letting it rise, like I'm not even touching it. So maybe I'll make pizza on stream someday. Maybe that's something I should do. I don't know. Would anyone possibly watch that? Hey, pre-made dough is not a full cheat because some people, when they say they just pulled pizza from the oven, they're talking a frozen pizza. Uh, I don't think it's on any of my pages anymore. When the world first shut down, I did a funny little video sketch where I did more or less a time lapse making my normal pizza recipe fully from scratch in full gear because the world was shut down. I couldn't go anywhere and I was starved for content. And I just thought, oh, this will be funny. Maybe this will entertain somebody a little. And it was up on my channels for a really long time, and I thought was pretty successful and pretty cool. Uh, and then just randomly, I got copyright strike because I guess the estate of Frank Sinatra found my video because I had put "When the Moon Hits You." I had put that in the background of the video. It's my mistake. My mistake. Shouldn't have used copyrighted music. That was a it was a it was a rookie mistake. Rookie move. All right, that looks really centered to me, and I'm not worried about it being exact because again, this is a toy that I don't know that I'm ever gonna sell at the merch table. This may just be something I'm making for my own collection. So not gonna fret about it too much. Now, from where it is, I need to go back 35.5 millimeters, and thankfully, it's going to tell me how far back I go as I move it here. Still want to, yeah, about there, right about there. Looks pretty good to me. Again, we're looking. This is sort of our comparison piece. You see, it's pretty far forward, and that's the vibe. It's supposed to be. And now you're going to watch me just kind of clunk together a bunch of little parts to sort of emulate this very complicated shape that they've made here. Anybody going to be at any shows this weekend? I am thrilled to say that I do not have any shows this weekend. This weekend and the weekend before last were two of my first weekends off since like May. And I needed it. I needed it bad. That said, I hope everyone's getting out to shows and supporting everybody that they can because you know, it's all the homies. Gotta support the homies. Okay, I'm gonna use this little cheese wedge guy. And this is where I'm going to start working mostly by feel. Let's see, I'm taking Rye to a show my friends do every year called Something Strange. They sing, play instruments, and act out A Nightmare Before Christmas. This is the last year. It's the last year. Well, I mean, you can't miss it if it's their last year doing it. But boy, it's a bummer. When I hear something like that is having its last year, that really bums me out. I think things like that are so fun. I hate to see them go away, but I also, I get it. People have like lives and they got to do things. Yeah, they've been doing it for 10 years. That's a pretty good reason to be like, yeah, we're ready to call it. You get a little burnt out doing stuff like that. I get it. Believe me, I get it. But yeah, we got some cool stuff cooking up for Pro Wrestling Grind that I'm really excited about, and looking forward to at some point being able to share. But for right now, it's a lot of very cool things that are not yet fully confirmed. So a lot of it has to hold off for the time being, but there's great stuff coming, like really great stuff coming that I'm very excited about. As always, anyone who isn't already, please go follow my home promotion, Pro Wrestling Grind. Hey, Adam NX67 checking in from Darts. That's right. That's right. Last night of your 30s. Early happy birthday to Adam NX67 turning the big 3-0 tomorrow. But yeah, everyone should check out Pro Wrestling Grind. And you know what? While you're at it, because they're the homies, they're the party fed. Everyone should go check out Blitzkrieg Pro. Look at that. Look at those alerts in the chat. I'm such a professional. All right. So we got that about where I want it. And this is where again, I'm doing this by sort of feel here. I'm essentially building this part by what feels right to me. I'm kind of looking at the shape. I don't God, get that alert off my screen. Good Lord. I definitely did not give Epic Games permission to send me alerts. This is what happens when you download a children's game like Fortnite. God, what was I thinking? Look, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I played Fortnite on stream the other day, and I did not care for it at all. It felt like the longest stream of my life. All of you being there made it much better. But it felt like the longest stream of my life. The game was giving me a headache, and I felt like I got nothing from playing that game. It was neat, it looked cool, but oof, just not for me, I don't think. Thankfully, it's free, so no loss there. All right, now I want to get a nice close up on this. I think I'm in a good spot with that. I don't want to be back too far. I want it to connect. Let's see. Can I actually see it from yeah, here we go. All right. So I want to yeah, about there is what we're looking for. There we go. All right. Good. Now what I want to do, again, I'm going by feel here. This is where I'm taking a little bit of artistic liberty and just sort of playing with the shapes. Did anyone see the announcement that Fight Life posted yesterday? Was that about them? They're doing a Rhode Island show, am I right? I assume that's the announcement you're referring to. Every wrestling company always has a bunch of announcements going up. It's how you keep people interested, you keep people watching. And Grind does the same thing. And it's very, very useful in engaging fans. So I often miss things that are announced by different companies because there's just so much all the time. But hey, Fight Life for good people. I really like Fight Life. So right. It's got to go in just a hair. There we go. That's kind of what I'm looking for there. Okay, I like that. Now I'm gonna Control D. We're gonna mirror that bad boy. I could have done both of these pieces together, but alas, here we are. And that looks like a good match to me. If it's not exact, that's okay. All right. Our central transmission piece is coming along pretty good. The new home venue going forward is in Providence. Oh, it's their new home venue. I saw it was a skate park. That is sick. That's really cool. I hope I can work there at some point because I would enjoy that kind of setup. Hey, look at that cheap viewers from Bobby Gilbert. Welcome to the chat, Bobby Gilbert. Good to see you, bud. Coming in hot with the jokes right away. Give it up for Bobby Gilbert, everybody. Let's see some emotes for old Bobby. For Big Bob, the Bob man. All right. And that shape appears. And again, I'm kind of, I'm playing with stuff here to find the shape I want to do. Making emotes of my own dumb face is still so funny to me. Okay. So right now I'm just kind of messing with this shape. Um, I think I want to go, I actually want it to go sideways. Yeah, something like that. A lot of this is for little details on this chassis that you're not really going to be able to make out, but there is sort of a horizontal oblong flat on each side. I don't know how to I don't know what that shape would be called. I might have actually been working another wrestling promotion for a show in March. Oh, speaking of which, Rye and Nicka Beans, you will have, I'm happy to say this part I can say because it doesn't give anything away. You'll have grind dates soon, much sooner than later. I have a few that have been confirmed to me. I'm very excited. Uh, and again, I can't say a whole lot more because there's some pretty cool surprises. But let's see. I want to bevel the edges here. Let's get a nice close up on this. Yeah, and there's going to be some cool announcements going with it. I'm pretty stoked. Um, yeah, let's do like that, and then we got to make it a bit thinner. Let's pan out. Let's get a side view here. Oh yeah, we're getting there. This is more or less the shape I'm looking for here. Oh, it's got to be way longer than that. Oh my. Wow. Wow. Okay. So that's going to go to like there and like there. Yeah, this shape is actually pretty cumbersome considering. Oh, and it's taller too. Wow. Okay. I'm learning a lot by finally getting a close look at this piece while I work here. Let's see, Cody says, "Are the two of you coming to ICW?" Oh, if you guys do, that'd be great. Oh, here we go. Apparently, my auto mod censor Bobby Gilbert for using the word cooter. Earl Cooter. I like Earl. Earl is such a like 80s monster truck driver name. Let's see, is that the full width of that piece? Is it, so it's considerably less. It's actually kind of thin. Yeah, that'll work. All right, so that's more or less what we're looking at there. Let's get it centered. Okay. Okay, I'm liking that. Sister's wedding is the day before. Ooh, that's gonna make it tough to hit ICW. That's boy, if ever there was a scheduling conflict, boy howdy. All right. So now there's definitely some little details that I can't possibly worry about picking up. There's little details right up in here where the shaft ends and there's sort of the diff part that comes in here. The way that they show the shaft linkage there, I'm not going to bother with that because I think a detail that small will not show on my printer necessarily. And certainly, once there's big fat monster truck tires on the side of it, you can't see that anymore. It's hidden from view. So, I'm being faithful to a point. I'm trying to keep in mind the use case for what I'm making here if I can get a little overly pretentious. Um, and the use case here is that I am a dork who wants monster truck toys on my walls that never existed, but in my heart existed. When I was a kid and I would buy Hot Wheels trucks that were just kind of the right color to represent a truck that I really liked. Um, I want that. I want that feeling. Now, I am going to measure the diameter of these drive shafts because I'd like it to be fairly close, and I think eyeballing it won't really be a fair representation. I want it to be like very close. It says it's 3.2 millimeters. So we're gonna Get up nice and close here. Hey, not bad for estimating that at 3.16. What? So we're gonna 3.2 and then 3.2. That's wildly close for having just eyeballed that and kind of guessing. That's crazy. All right, let's get a nice view from the side here. I am going to Control D, have a second one right there ready to go. I think this is too long, so I'm going to make it shorter. Kind of want to see what happens if I like increase segments and things. Like, what's this all do right now? Like, it seems like it's nothing unless I bevel, and I don't want to do that with this one. See if I bring the segments way down and then I bevel. Oh, actually, that might be okay for a drive shaft. Yeah, let's go with that. Now we have two. Get our view from the right-hand side here. And we're going to need to basically match the angle of that front piece there. I can already tell this is going to need to be a bit, well, might be okay. I think it's going to need to be a bit shorter. We'll see. Because this needs to go from inside that piece to inside that piece. And I think, yeah, we definitely, now if I do that, yeah, we're distorting. So we gotta bring this bad boy back up to true here, or at least pretty close enough. We gotta shrink it on down, and then we can go find our angle. Something like about there. Bring it up. Even then, I think the angle could be a little bit more like that. Yeah, actually, and that's kind of how it is here. It's a little hard to see on camera, but this is the front drive shaft. All right, and then we gotta get ourselves a front view here. We're gonna bring it over and try to get it fairly centered. I might have nailed it. That's pretty bang on. Heck yeah. There we go. Drive shaft one. I kind of hate the beveling on it now. I'm gonna completely undo that and just have it be just a straight shot. Now I could go on here and put like the little ribs like they have on sort of the modern monster truck drive shafts, but that's not what this toy looks like. I'm gonna keep the simple lines. I like it. Roommate's throwing a birthday bash at our apartment. Want to hang out before the move? Yeah, that's I would. I would hang out there. That sounds good. I think I'm missing Blitzkrieg. Not comfortable attending shows. I get that too. Although Blitz would probably be okay. They draw a pretty big audience though, so like you never know who shows up. Like it's not all, not everyone who shows up is going to be fun, and that's kind of a bummer. But that's sadly the reality of basically everywhere all the time, I hate to say. Um Even from like a performer's perspective, like there's people who come up to the merch table that I really just don't care to converse with, you know? People who really don't get the vibe if I can use some of the parlance of the young folk. All right. That looks really good right there. All right. We get that back view. Gonna bring it over and get it pretty close, but then let's zoom way in and get it. Actually, yeah, we nailed it. That's exactly where I want it. All right. So that's looking like the bottom of this is pretty well, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I feel happy with that. Now I have to contend with, do we try to reshape these pieces to get that faux leaf spring look? And it won't be an easy shape to make, which is no reason to not do it. Now, I've already sort of given that little shape indication there. Really, we just have to sort of reshape the outside here. Yeah, I think we're gonna do it. I think we're gonna say fine and we're gonna do it. So there we go. I'm ungrouping one. We're gonna work from there. That's gonna be the plan here. So what I want to do is reshape this green piece. And boy, that's a tough shape to do. Not impossible though by any stretch of the imagination. So first thing, I want to get these little, there's these sort of bolt pieces here that are sort of squares on each side. I want to put those on so that we have like the anchor points down there. And I think that that should be pretty easy. It looks like it's just, I'm also going to work on sort of rounding some of the edges on as much of this as I can because there's not a lot of hard corners here. They have that soft plastic mold kind of shape, and I'd like to recreate that as best I can. I know it won't be exact, but that's fine. So let's see, what's our depth on that is 3.6. So we're gonna make this match that. Boom, because it is. Oh, it's actually going to be a little bit bigger now that I'm looking at it. We're gonna, again, just by eye, I'm just gonna go, yeah, let's call it 3.9. Why not? No one's gonna mind. Let's get up to the top view here. And I'm gonna try to line it up to the back as best I can. Let's get a nice close up on that piece. In fact, I'm just going to stretch to meet. And if it's not exact, that's okay. Then I want to come basically all the way to the front. We'll stretch it a fair bit past the back. And now let's see if we can't swing our view down here. And now I want, now this is where I have to do a little tight space measuring because it's a little bitty bit there. 2.4. So we're going to call it 2.5 is what I want. So if at the 0 point it's 3, we're going to call it 5.5. And then I am, in fact, going to radius my edges here a bit. The steps way, way up. Yeah, even that's a bit much radius. Yeah, we kind of want to go to like something like that, something really tight on it. And even then, I'm gonna go boop, just a little, just have it stick out the back just a little bit. Let's get a better look here. Oh, you know what? I don't know if that's gonna work for me. No, I think it's fine. I think it's good. I'm gonna bring it in a little. Again, I'm going by feel here, which is fine for me. It doesn't, no sweat off my brow. I like this to be a little bit wabi sabi as the Bobby Hill meme goes. Okay, so we've got our little anchor points. Now I gotta figure out how we're making, and again, I'm trying to look at the screen to see, is that shape coming through on there? Because it's a very peculiar ridged shape that runs down there. And I think it's worth trying to recreate. I know I'm being a little obsessive about it, but I think it's worth doing. Let's ungroup that. We're going to come back and fix that in a minute. But for right now, I think what I need sort of like a round shape because it's not a hard edge. I think what I need is actually this, but I need it to be, yeah, this and this, actually. And then I need it to be a solid. And now we're gonna, let's group that piece. Now we're gonna have to get kind of clever here. All right, I'm gonna bring it up to about there. Actually, I'm gonna make it way shorter. Then we're gonna bring it up. Now we can futz with it. Yeah, yeah. This is gonna be how we do this. It's coming together now. Let's bring each side way in. And I think this is gonna be how we get our shape. Let's get a top view here. Okay, still good and centered. So I want this to fit this green piece basically exactly. So I'm gonna get to about there. Let's get a look from both sides. Oh, nailing it. Okay, perfect. Okay, now I'm gonna Control D that. Bring it down to like here. And we're gonna do the next little ridge. Oh, that's totally it. That's where we're nailing it. All right. Now let's see if I go Control D, Control D, Control D, and I think it probably goes most of the way to the, oh no, it actually stops. Okay. So we're gonna take this one. No, that's not the module I meant to hit. I'm so psyched with this. This is actually working really well. I'm gonna stretch it way up. We're gonna bring it down. And then we're gonna go to like here. And we're gonna do something similar with this where we're gonna bring it down, bring one end in, but then stretch it up to meet. Stretch this one, bring it down, and bring this end in. And I think that's about gonna have it. I just don't want any loose ends over here. I want these all to, yeah, and these do, they connect. Oh, we got a little overhang there. I had to zoom way in to see it. All right, so I think I'm going to take that one, and I should be able to just stretch it up until that overlaps. There we go. Okay, I think that's actually going to give us the shape we're after. That came out really good. I'm stoked on that. Holy crap. Like that really worked. Okay. Let me get just another quick look at this. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it. It actually ends up being a pretty subtle look. Um, all right, so now I need to select just the pieces that I want. What's gonna be my angle here? Let's go to like there, and then I need to deselect that. I need to deselect that, and then I think that does it. Let's go ahead and group that piece. Now we're going to select the shocks. We're going to group all of that. Yeah. Now we're cooking. Yo, I'm stoked. That looks great. Yeah, that's our stretched out piece there. So now what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to lose this one. Boop. Take this one, Control D, We're gonna flip horizontally, get our front view straight on. We're gonna bring it over and line it up really as close as we can here. Looks like we gotta go, yeah, right about there is where we want it. Okay. Well, that looks great. Hey, I'm glad this is dorky, but like I'm glad I took the time to get that little bit more detail because now it's just going to look that much more like the actual piece. And in fact, you know what? I'm already looking at it and seeing things I wanna do better. So let's come back in here and we're gonna reshape this cutout here because we can get it better. It needs to be longer here and then shorter on the top. Yeah, something more like that is a bit closer to how it looks here. Yeah, I think that's, oh boy, it might even come down a bit more. Yeah, it's closer to like this. All right. Again, I'm getting really nitty-gritty, really picky here, but that's kind of the fun of doing your own, I mean, I say my own toy design, but that's the fun of doing a project like this. It's not my own design, certainly. I'm definitely, at best, borrowing heavily, and at worst, blatantly stealing from an old Hot Wheels toy. But in my mind, I'm recreating something that they don't make anymore. So I'm doing a service, you know? I think we can make that cutout a little deeper too. Yeah. Ooh, and it's cutting the shock off weird. It shouldn't have cut those shocks at all. All right, well, let's do that again. Oh, I see. It ungrouped the shocks entirely. All right, so we're gonna have to take this bit by bit. Click that part, click that part, click this, and this, and this. But first, before I forget the whole reason I did this, we're gonna go in just a little bit more than that. Really make it stand out. Now we gotta click that part, that part, that part, that, and that, and that. And now we can group it. Oh, it ungrouped this part too. Oh, interesting. All right, well, then we're gonna have to do that. Oh, I don't like that at all. What did it do there? Oh, it separated the two. That's right. Okay. Okay, we can redo that one. Let's get our side view. There we go. Let's take this and this. We're going to group that first. I'm sure this must be very exciting to watch me flail and fail repeatedly here. All right, now we're going to go in just a bit more than we were. Now I'm going to reselect the parts that I want to group. We're going to hit the old group button, and that's going to give us our indent, which is looking good. And now we want to take that piece along with, oh boy, it really degrouped all of the shock. All right, well that's fine. Yeah, it's really making me work for this. Okay, let's try this. We're loving it. We're both painting well. Oh, well, I'm glad. You know, if I can provide a little entertainment while others are creating, I think that's really fun. Okay, all right. So we'll select that big piece. Yeah, let's see. What's my angle here? That's my angle. All right, because now I can just go Boom, like that. And that's just the pieces I wanted. Gonna group. Okay, looking good. And then I want to turn that back to the light gray, really get myself a visual here. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. That's looking like how this is. Okay, now we're cooking. All right, so now what I want to do, I'm gonna take that one, delete that one. You know, first I'm gonna make my copy here. Let's Control D. Let's flip horizontal. Oh, hey. Watch it. Watch it. There we go. Let's get our front view. Bring it on over. Zoom in. Okay, right like that, we're good. So now I'm gonna delete that piece. And now we gotta make one that's gonna mimic that. And I just do it by stretching. So I'm gonna Control D. Bring this, oh, hey, bring this on over until we're fairly well centered with uh, with that top piece there. That's dead. That's bang on. That's good. All right. And now, just by eye, I'm gonna say that's where we want that. And I'm gonna say that that's where we want that. That's the piece we want to get rid of. Boom. Boom. Let's get our rear view here. I'm going to copy this one as well. Get our little mirror view so we can flip it. View from the back. And now we're going to bring it on over. Center and close up and make sure we get it aligned. Yeah. Now we're getting somewhere. Look at that. Come on. Ah, I'm stoked on this. Let me tell you. Now this clearly molds in two bumpers with it. I don't know that I really want to stick bumpers on this body. Like this body, they get away with it. It looks really appropriate to have that bumper there. I don't know that this really needs a bumper. I don't know. I mean, it certainly would keep it in line with the look of the older trucks. Yeah, maybe I do it. Maybe we give it a goofy little bumper. I don't know. I don't know. Well, we'll revisit that. I still have to make sure this is even going to print correctly when all is said and done. Um, so let's go ahead and group all of this so that it's all one big dumb mess. Group. There we go. Now we're talking truck chassis. We do have to put some holes through this for the axles. And I said it on stream last night, but I of course have certainly forgotten the size of the axles that I ordered. I'm going to do actual metal axles that are going to go into a pair of tires that I print for these. Um, that way the tires can be their own color. I can paint the chassis on its own separate because I run into the problem where the space between the tire and the chassis, I can't really paint in there without painting the tire. So if I want to make the chassis silver, the inside of the tire ends up with a bunch of silver paint stuck on it. It's not great. It's a very difficult way to paint. So instead, I'm doing it as two separate pieces. Let's go ahead and pull up my Amazon and find the piece that I ordered. Okay, well that's not terribly help. There we go. 2 millimeters is the diameter that we're working on with. So I need to put in some holes that are at least like 2.5 millimeters. I'm gonna eye it on my thing here. So if two is like right there, and we go, yeah, we need a little bit more breathing room than that. I think we're gonna call it like a 3.5 diameter. 3.5. Boom. 3.5. Boom. Stretch it nice and long there. All right. Let's get our back view here. Pop it to 90 degrees. And then let's just get a rough idea here. Is that going to be too thin? Do I need to make the axles thicker? Maybe. I might need to. Well, that's okay. We're going to continue to play with this. So let's bring it. We might get away with it. That might be a little bit thin of a part. Yeah, we might. You know what? Let's say we take that down to like a 3.1. If it's a 2 millimeter axle, it should definitely fit through a 3.1 millimeter hole, right? Maybe. Okay, and that's close to center, but it's not totally centered. So it might be centered vertically actually. That's looking like that looks pretty centered to me. And it's okay if it's not totally on because there's going to be some wiggle room for the axle in there. Yeah, I like that. All right. Control D. Let's get our left view, zoom way. Hold that shift and slide it on over. Okay. And that looks pretty good. Feel good on that. Let's group it and see what it looks like. Now the real test is going to be printing this and seeing how it behaves. Again, I'm planning to print this on resin. It's a very small part. There's pros and cons to printing small things in resin. You get a lot of detail that you can't really get in filament prints. But the resin printing process is it's a bit more violent on the plastic than the filament printing process is. So when you have a very small part, it's possible for things to warp during printing or to be ripped. So I've been trying to keep a pretty decent decent thickness to every part here, even though this is clearly made up of some very small kind of thin bits. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays. If this does print well, I think it's going to look really, really nice. Um, Now, the next thing I really need to start considering is how the chassis that we're making is going to interface with this truck body, how it's going to sit, um, how it will attach. There's a lot of things to consider there. And what's nice is because I have these two toys right next to each other, I can sit here and I can sort of eye how the body is in relation compared to the other body and try to get at least a good guess going. Yeah, and I think it's actually going to look really cool. Like I was very careful to readjust for the excuse me, for the wheelbase being a little bit different on this body, so it should look pretty good. I think now one difficult thing when this body goes on, the side view you're going to have filling this space here. the wheel wells, filling that space. Um, because this is not a geometric shape, it's very it's more organic, the curves. That can be very difficult. And I've had some models I've made in the past where I leave that see-through. I don't really worry about it. Um, but in the case of this, I'm looking through at you. I'm looking directly through that windshield and I can see you. Um, which means we're going to be able to see inside. And when I do that, I kind of like to make a cab. I like to make somewhere that a driver might sit. Like in this matchbox body that I took, you can see through that window a dashboard, a steering wheel, a back bed in the truck, everything. I kind of want something like that. The other thing I need to consider as I'm working on how this chassis fits is there are these pieces here which I could Dremel off of there, these little attachment poles, or I can put holes into the chassis where I think that everything will sort of connect. And it's always a difficult decision. Another thing for me to consider, I would like to fill the back bed here rather than having it just you can see through it. I would like to do sort of like this, the sort of faux tonneau cover that they used to have. And if I do that, I want the flag stand. They had little stickers that they would put on here that said Hot Wheels that looked like the flags because back in that era, in that racing era, Bigfoot always had. Oh wow! And in fact, I'm gonna pull a reference picture up here that I put out on Twitter earlier. In fact, it looks like the flag on the actual truck said Hot Wheels. That is definitely a Hot Wheels logo on that flag. So you can see, I mean, they nailed it, right? Like that's the same truck. When you put the monster truck tires on there, when you get the actual when you pop the tires on there, I mean, that's the truck. They nailed it. So I kind of want to do the same thing. And like I said, I have two bodies here. I have Samson and I have Bigfoot Power Wheels that both raced in this era. So that's kind of what I'm looking to recreate. So let's take some time and sort of consider, since I'm not printing this in filament, I always designed these upside down like this because I was printing in filament and it would sort of print up. It would print in that direction. But since I'm printing this in resin, I can kind of alter the shape that I'm doing here and do something different and maybe even add some extra details that weren't there on the original design. Call it Joey the way they nailed it. You know, sometimes you get it. Sometimes you get my humor. All right, hang on one sec. I have a space heater going in here, and it's actually made this room kind of toasty. So I'm gonna turn it off. Give me 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves. All right, so we're gonna go a little bit longer here working on this design, because I would like to I would like to have something to show for our efforts here, something kind of cool. And yeah, that is so cool how close the body sizes are. Really neat. All right. A part of me wants to print one of these just as a prototype to sort of stick with it, but I want to be able to when I print the thing, if it's gonna work, I want it to work. I want it to work. So that said, select our part. We're gonna flip it vertical. All right. That's what we're looking at. I'm tempted to drag a truck body in here to set on it just for the image, but we'll see. Um, I might do that for my thumbnail later. Um, so cool. All right, so that's the back, that's the front. So I'm going to take some measurements here and we're going to see if we can figure out where we want these pieces to interact with this. And maybe we can put in a couple little notches and holes so that the body can bloop just sit right down. I think that's got to be what we're trying for here. All right, so looks to me like we're going to need that to be just back of the front wheels. So let's get a side view. And the hole there is going to need to be just a little bigger than 3.5. So we're going to call it 4 millimeters. We're going to give it a little wiggle room because we're probably going to glue this together when it all comes together. I said get out of here. There we go. Stretch it nice and tall, and then on the shift key, we're going to take it to like a 4.5 is what we're looking for. 4.2. Yeah. We'll call it 4.2. Why not? We'll be friendly about it. Okay. Boy, that looks good. I'm really pleased with that. All right. So that being the case, we'll get our side alignment on this where we want it, and I do want it to be just a little bit back from where that wheel is going to center, right? Yeah, we kind of want that to center about there. So it's just barely back from dead center of the wheel. Like something like there is probably going to do it. And this is where you really start to just eye things. Maybe we can give it a little bit more. Something like that. All right. And now I'm gonna bring it on up to we'll let it go all the way through. I don't think it's gonna matter. And then we're just gonna center that. It doesn't have to be completely exact, but I'd like it to be pretty darn close. I mean, that looks close to center. I think that'll do it. All right, cool. So there we go. I'm going to shorten that down so we're not staring at it this whole time. I feel good about that. Yeah, oh, maybe that's the. Now I'm starting to look at what they did on their design and kind of going like, I see why they did that. All right. Yeah, if you bring the little decorative filler walls in from the frame, it doesn't matter if it's an exact fit because you can fill the space and it doesn't bump into anything. Sorry, this is I'm learning how they made these toys as you're watching me learn how they made these toys. Okay, so now we need two little boops in the back for those pieces, and we're gonna get an idea of about where we want that too. So if we got that lining up just just back of that, and these got to be back a little ways, like a pretty solid distance. All right. So for this, drop in this guy, and let's get some measurements on this thing. It needs to be, call it 7 millimeters long. Let's call it 7.5. Why not? You know, just better safe than sorry, I guess. 2.5, we're going to call that like a 3. Okay. And that's kind of our general shape there. And then there needs to be two of them, and they need to be offset by about 6.3 millimeters. So let's center on our thing here. Let's get a side view. We're gonna Control D, and it's a 6.3, 6.4 difference. So I'm gonna bring it over till we hit that, like, let's call it 6.4 difference. And that should, what's the distance between? It's like a 4.9. All right, so that's how I'm going to do this. We're going to call it 5 millimeters apart. So we're just going to bring them up till they touch, just touching there. Then we're going to move it over 5 millimeters, and that's going to be more the distance we wanted. All right, good. Now we'll take both of those, raise them up a bit, something about like there. We're gonna get nice and centered. Ooh, it really does line up nice and easy there since we have that front piece to kind of compare to. There we go. And now we just got to get the how far back or forward it's going to be. And this again, this is a little bit of guesswork, but I do have this to compare it to. So we can tell the distance between those and we'll work from that. Ah, now I'm thinking. I wasn't thinking about that before, but I'm thinking about it now, let me tell you. All right, and that is 49.5. So let's go to our top view here. And just till they touch, click off. We're going to click back on. Now we want to move 49.5 millimeters back. 49.5. And that should fit our body onto this. I say should with a bit of apprehension because you never really can tell how totally correct you are with it. All right. Well, oh, that's interesting. There's a bigger gap on one side than the other. Is that not centered? Oh, it's definitely not. Like that's centered, which means this bottom part's not centered, which is okay, but these top pieces need to be centered. Like that bottom piece is decorative. It can be a little off kilter. These top pieces need to be centered. All right, let's get our side view. We're gonna shrink that on down so we're not staring at it this whole time. All right, so that's at least gonna connect how this all interacts here. Now I do want to fill in a little bit, so we need to go a bit higher on this. We've sort of built to there. Wow, that's a lot that needs to be filled in. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to be able to do this in a way that looks totally clean. I have a previous design that will very likely work. It was built to the same body. So we're gonna dig into the archives of the Perry toy design. You can see all kinds of stuff here. I have some modular shelves I made for some Hot Wheels, some of our sumo figures, the grind entryway. some different car and truck pieces. We got the blank for the Muscle Man. We got a lot of projects that we're going to be revisiting. All kinds of fun bits here. That's a hook that's in my. Oh no, Bobby Gilbert says he's starting to get sick. That's not good, Bobby. What kind of sick? You got like a cold? Um, this design that you see here, that is a hook that is down in my workshop. That is how I hang the hanging cover from my 3D print station. All right, we got some other truck designs. I might steal some of this to do a little showing off of this piece later. Let's see here. What else we got? What else we got? We got some Perry parts from some other trucks that people may or may not already own themselves. Got my Mad Dog body. Yeah, that's right. Mad Dog 3, Mad Dog 2 this might have been. I forget which one. Yeah, some cool design stuff going on there. Somewhere around here we're gonna find oh, that's when I started the Swamper design. I gotta revisit some of this. There's so much I haven't finished. This is sort of Rip's truck, a little toy design that I started for him. I still need to finish. My throat hurts and chest. Oh, Bobby, I hate to hear it. That's some of my least favorite kind of sick. Early Perry muscle figure there. Yeah, wow, there's some good stuff. Crush cars. There's some good stuff in the old designs here. Old school Bigfoot Hot Wheels Supercharger mash. Okay, yeah. So this is going to be I think this is the cab that I worked with for that. Can I open this in a new tab? Yeah, we're gonna tinker that in a new tab just in case because I don't wanna jump the gun and say that that's correct. Yeah, okay. This is a Gravedigger cab that we worked on some time ago. Hot Wheels dual cab truck bed. Okay, this might be the one. We might be able to run with this. And this one I put an engine and stuff in it. See, this is the snake bite cab that I had. Oh, this might work. Yeah, we might be able to just run with one of these. That's the Bigfoot one I was looking for. Yeah, I think the snake bite one is the answer. I think that's the answer I'm looking for. Need an early Perry muscle fig. Oh, well, that we might be able to arrange. Hit me in a DM because those are particularly inexpensive because they are easy to make. They are easy for me to print off. Yeah, you can see a lot of my early work here. Monster Vet body, Monster Vet cab, all the tires and chassis. This is a lot of my early work. Wow, I haven't revisited much of this in a long time. All right, so let's get a look here. Okay, I know which one this was from. This gave a fake bed to one of the trucks. Instead of a tonneau cover, it had a bed and a set of roll bars. Really liked how this turned out. Not what I need today, though. Let's see. What about, okay, this one's very similar. Fake bed, roll bars. It's got the little dip for the pieces to go into. So I don't dislike that. Mm, that might be workable. But I think this is the one we want to work from. We're going to lose the roll bars, but we're going to keep the back because it fills in like a tonneau cover. Got to get the money first. Shoot me a message. You might be surprised at how little it really does cost. All right, so I think we're gonna run with this and see if we can't combine the two designs. So I believe this is all currently grouped. I'm going to copy this. We're gonna drop it in here. It's gonna take a minute for that to fully populate. I'm gonna move this out of the way. Oh no, didn't want to do that. Control Z. We want you, we want you, we want you, and now we want to move it. And we should actually get a pretty good idea of how well this is all going to fit together when we see this all kind of line up on there because it's possible these peg holes should line up. Like I might not need to do a whole lot more to this, which would be great. Um, but we do need to wait for this to populate. There we go. There it goes. All right. So we got our, this guy would have been Colt Cobra in another design. I'll take this and I'm going to ungroup, which is terrifying to do. I think maybe we leave this engine here. We might just leave the engine. We might keep that. But really, all I want to do is I want to get rid of these roll bars. These are the snake bite roll bars. I'm gonna lose that. And there is sort of this center dowel, but that shouldn't be a big problem. And I think we can probably actually make some of this a bit taller. But you know what? The only way I'm going to know is if I grab the snake bite I made and I take a look at how this all fit in there, because it's a very similar trophy truck body. So everybody hang tight for just a sec. I will be right back. Bobby, take a cough drop. I insist. But hang tight. I'll be yeah. All right. All right. I'm psyched to be able to show this off to you. I don't think I've ever really shown this on stream. This is, and some of it's going to be green screened, but this is the chassis with roll bars that are currently green screened. You can see my finger disappearing behind them. That I designed for snakebite body that you will see next to next to this Bigfoot Power Wheels is very much sort of the same body. And it does fit really nicely where this just kind of bloop fits right on top and becomes snakebite. Now it's not perfect by any means, but it's a great start and it gives me a good idea on how this is all going to fit together. Right, Bobby? Not bad. Not bad. I was still very, very new when I designed this. And this is all mine. The wheels are 3D printed, the chassis, the little driver, everything, the engine. Really took my time sort of painting it and goofing around because I was so new to this and I was just trying it out. I actually made this before the world opened back up from COVID. This was a COVID project. And that's all done on a filament printer, which is not meant to print miniatures. I had to scour the internet for settings that would get my $100 filament printer to print miniatures in that kind of quality. I'll get some better pictures for it and post them on my socials when we're done here. At some point, I'm going to do a stream once I have a good, reliable close-up camera do a stream of all the sort of 3D print project monster trucks I've done because I think there's some really neat stuff that I've probably never been able to show off to anyone. I'm upwards of 15 or 20 custom models that I'm really proud of. But I am happy to see how this fits. I'm feeling very confident about this. So what I want to do, I think I want to expand this just a little bit, just in case. I'm going to bring it forward because I don't mind a little bit of an extra gap. Um, yeah. In fact, just in case, I'm going to get a measurement here. So somewhere right around 10 wide is what we're looking at there. That's 11 wide, so that I feel good about that. And if I want it to fill that entire gap, we need to go somewhere around 12-ish deep, which yeah, we could probably even go just a little bit more just in case, just in case. I just want to be careful. Um all right, and I do think the height of the driver and seats is really good in there comparatively. The engine is a little tall and makes it sit a little wonky. I don't want this to be strange. At least not strange in a way that I don't intend it to be. I do kind of want to round the corners on some of this. Like there's some of this I really think I could, it doesn't need to be as sharp as it is. Let's just see what happens if we round the front of that. Let's give that a bit of a not that much of a radius, just a little bit of a radius. Let's zoom in here. Yeah, I just wanted to soften that edge. We'll increase the steps a bit. Yeah, I think that's looking a little bit better. This we really won't see. This we really won't see, so I'm not so worried about that. I know it looks to me like I maybe shrunk the height of the engine here a little bit. Yeah, let's get a look at this and see. Is that going to run into the same? Yeah, that'll be sort of the same rise if I leave that the way it is. Okay, well, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. The snake bite didn't come out perfect. It does sit a little funny, and I really want this to look snug and cool. I want it to look like, I mean, truth be told, if I hold these back the way they would be on a shelf, like they look like they're from the same toy set. They look like they're from the same series, and that's something I'm really proud of. When you kind of look at them facing on with each other, like you might not know that this wasn't made until 30 years after this and was made by an amateur who didn't know what he was doing. So, there's hope there. I feel pretty confident about that. So, I think this engine we might be able to. Do I want it to be like rear engine? Because if that's the case, we got to do something different here with this tonneau cover. And we certainly could. There's a lot we could do here that would be different. I do want to just radius this just a hair, just a little bit, make it a little soft looking. And let's see how well is that going to fill in what we're looking at here. What's the number here? 25.7. Let's get a look at the interior of this back bed here. All this work that you're seeing me do is all going to come together later. I hope. Okay. All the way to the back here. If we go all the way to the back. Yeah, actually, I don't think we need to change that size at all. That's really nice. All right, and I'm happy with the radius there. I am going to get a little fancy here. I've got an idea. I think we can lose this engine here entirely. We're gonna make a shorter little stop so that there's something for the little peg here to just rest on. kind of nice and low. The whole thing can get real low on here. This, it has to sit kind of high. And I'm trying to see what exactly it's resting on that's so high. I think it's maybe the tonneau cover, sort of the catch point there. Let's see. Maybe not. Maybe, oh no, maybe it is. I don't know. I can't really tell. I can't tell exactly what it's resting on. It's my own design, but I haven't touched it in years now, you know? It could be that center piece going in there. No, that's probably not it. I guess it's got to just be the front, 'cause that's the only part that's sunk down to where I don't think it can go anymore. Okay. Well, that's enough. Enough hemming and hawing and watching me stare at a toy that I made myself. Um, I think this is actually pretty good. I am tempted to move the engine back here and make this hollow and try to make a rear engine look. I think if I do that, I'm risking kind of messing with what we have already. It's possible that it would be fine. I think we can this square we can just lose entirely. I don't think that needs to be there. So just bloop. Just gonna lose that and lose that because that's not necessary. Okay. There's a part of me that just wants this whole thing to come up and then down and have this empty, but that kind of defeats some of the purpose here. I think we're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it solid, and I think we're gonna just drop the engine down a bit. I like all the detail there, but we're just gonna bloop, just drop it on down, just like that. I think the rest is gonna stay as is. So we're gonna well, not yet. We're not gonna regroup the whole thing yet. We're gonna regroup most of it. Come like that. Deselect, deselect, deselect. That's what we're gonna group. We're gonna group all that, and that's gonna take a second because boy, it's gonna have to think about it. um, See, catching up on the chat. Yeah, I think it'd be really fun to do a good show off stream. Again, I got to figure out a nice close up camera for live streaming down in the workshop. So far, the one I've had the best success with is literally my phone camera. That can be a little complicated. I need to try a few things out to see if I can make that work. Um, because it is kind of nice. But I've got a little turntable that I can set the trucks on and let them kind of spin while we get a nice close look and talk about the design. Um, there's some meat on the bone for a close up stream for this stuff. I'd like to make a few more of these before that. Again, I've got a lot of cool bodies that I want to work with. I want to do something with this old Chevy Matchbox that has the cab and everything kind of built in already. I've got the Samson. I've got the Bigfoot Power Wheels we're working on currently. I've got this very cheap Walmart Blazer body. And then I showed this on stream yesterday. And I'm excited to get to this because this is an old project. I have this very basic Chevy truck that's a matchbox that was sort of like a high ride truck. I think very simply, I have these 3D printed tank treads that I made a while back. Like, it's easy enough. I could just kind of do like that and boom, instant monster tank. But I want to build something for underneath so that it still has wheels and can roll. Like some little hidden wheels that go underneath the tank treads. I think would be really cool. And then if I'm going to do that, I'd like to design my own so that I could 3D print some from scratch that work that way. Because boy, I'd love to make my own Virginia Beach Beast and some of the classic monster tanks in 1/64th scale. Fun trivia fact. As long as we're working on the Bigfoot Champions Hot Wheels here, there is only one 1/64th monster tank toy that was ever produced, which is crazy because monster tanks were huge back in the day. And that toy is, I'm getting the picture pulled up here. That toy was the Bigfoot Fast Tracks from this series. And what you can see on it here, uh, right down here, those are little wheels that are identical to the travel tires on the Bigfoot. And so it comes with a set of these tires. You see them in the package there. And you can put those on it and it becomes the Bigfoot shuttle. Or you can put the tank treads on and the tires just poke out the bottom just enough that you can push it and it rides like a regular Hot Wheels car. Like, how sick is that? That's really cool. Yes. All right. Still waiting for that to finish grouping, it seems. There it goes. It's all together now. All right. So I want to take yeah, not yet. Okay. I'm gonna take these and we're gonna see if we can just put it up on that chassis and see how it lines up. See how it's gonna behave. So we want something like that. And somewhere in there, something probably similar to that. And we'll see how these boxes line up. Let's get a top view. We're gonna go that away. So there we go. Center on the objects. Bring it on up. Here we go. So we want to be similar to this, but I think it's going to be a little bit different because I know where we're putting the body on this is slightly different. So I think the first thing I want to do, we're going to go back with that. We're going to make this one tall to come up through the top, and I'm going to lose this one entirely. So now we want to come and just select these. And now's where, again, I'm going to have to sit here with this chassis and figure out my alignment by just focusing in on it for 1 second. So please forgive me while I shamefully ignore everyone who's watching. All right. So to about there, like that. So if I set that up just back of there, ooh, we may actually want to pull all that. Well, yeah, no, that's going to be okay. So we want to come to like there-ish, I think. It's going to be a little bit more back than it was before. If these tires are going to line up right, we got to be a little bit further back because before the body was pushed too far forward. All right. Yeah, I think I'm taking a big swing combining these because I'm not totally sold that it's the way to do it. And now what I want to do is take that whole thing and sink down into there. I want it to be a little bit lower, just a little bit sunken. I don't want it to be quite so tall. Okay. Yeah, and that lines up basically exactly there. That's cool. All right, so now I'm actually gonna take this, make it significantly smaller, and then we're just gonna bring it up toward the top. And I'm even gonna make it a little bit bigger and then give it the old radius treatment. I'm wanting all my edges to be as soft as I can here. I want it to, I want everything to read the way these toys read, which is very kid friendly. All the edges are just a little bit soft on it. I want the same look. I don't want it to look too, CAD, if that makes sense. All right, now real quick, I do want to get one number here because this will give me a pretty good idea. That's 80 millimeters long. And the distance in here, my interior here is, ooh, okay. That may be an issue. Although if it's south of that, that might be okay. It'll end up looking like a bumper or something. All right, we're actually going to bring this forward, I guess. Uh, this whole thing's going to come. Oop, oop, oop. Let's not get crazy here. There we go. Yeah, that's what I want to move forward. So I'm going to bring that forward to more or less line up. I think it's going to make a big difference. And then this bit here, probably go with it. I don't see any harm in that. Bring it down a little. There we go. All right. So now I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm just going to group the whole shebang and see what we end up with. And if it doesn't work when I print it, we'll do it over again. We'll fix everything. We are still going to have a flat kind of empty space here under the front wheel well, and I'm willing to forgive that for the time being until I figure out something better. All right, we're going to let that finish grouping. And in a few minutes here, once this is done, once I think it looks pretty good, once we've snagged ourselves a good thumbnail, that's going to be the next project, is getting a thumbnail for this. Um, Once we've done all that, we're going to hop over to King Lord Brian, KLBR, King Lord Brian Radio, Brian Abu Chakra's Twitch, where he plays some sick tunes, takes viewer requests for videos. It's a great time. Okay, so that did not go high enough, and I should have thought that through. Ungroup. All right. Let's select that one and that one. And we got to come up, all the way up and out. And in fact, while we're at it, just in case, while we're at it, just in case, we come all the way back out the back, just in case. Maybe just a little bit shy of the back. Leave a little meat on the bone there. All right, now we're gonna regroup everything. Sometimes you gotta pull the trigger on this stuff before you see what it's gonna do and how it's gonna behave. And while we're waiting for that to group, I will plug. I've had some new vlog episodes go up. I saw Monster Trucks. It's a vlog from, I believe, August. Got to see Black Stallion and Overkill Evolution, and I won my second championship belt at Blitzkrieg Pro. You can see it, relive the moment. I won the Blitzkrieg Pro Jensen Championship. Check out the PVV vlog over on my YouTube channel. I'm like, when I last looked, I'm 5 subscribers away from 1,000. If you don't have a YouTube account, make a YouTube account, subscribe, tell a friend, tweet it out to someone. I'm so close to that magic 1,000. I'd love to hit it before the year ends. I started this year at 640 subscribers. Being right on the edge of 1,000 is incredible, especially when you consider it's a channel that I've had for 17 years. So I'm very psyched with the growth there. Very happy. It's been exciting to every day I'm refreshing and checking it out. All right, here's what we got on our attempt at a Bigfoot chassis here. So I love that. I think it's looking great. What I'm going to do now is we are going to bring some other bits and bobs in here so that we can make a thumbnail together before we call it a stream. So let's pull up the tire we made yesterday. This is the slightly larger of the tires that go to this set. Well, now it's on the floor. That's fine. I showed it. You all saw it. If you weren't looking, you missed your opportunity. Oh no, it's right here. All right. This is the slightly bigger tire from this series. You can see the sort of difference here. The two different tires they have. I went with a slightly bigger one. I think it looks a little cooler next to my Matchbox superchargers. So for right now, I'm going to copy this and we are going to drop it on in here. We're going to turn it darker so that it looks like a tire. And then let's get centered on it. Let's snap it up to level here or darn close. Let's get our side view. We're going to bring that up till it's about middle on there, looking good. Okay. Again, this is all just for my thumbnail. You're all hanging out while I make my thumbnail. And I appreciate you all hanging out here tonight. We've had a good time doing some toy design work. Come pretty close with that. We may make it wider in a minute, but for now, that's looking pretty good. Gonna center the whole thing. Now we're gonna Control C. You know what? Screw that. Let's Control D. Let's get that side view again. Now we're gonna bring it back till it's about centered. That looks nice. This one can actually come forward a bit, I think. I think we went a little far back on it. There we go. We're actually gonna, there we go. Yeah, I get something. Oh, this one still looks like it could go, yeah, to about there. Which probably isn't totally accurate, but that's okay. And now we're gonna copy both of those. We're going to flip horizontally. All right, never mind. We're gonna lose both of those. Now we're gonna Control D gives me what I want. Then we'll flip horizontally. And why does it do that? Come on, don't be terrible. Of course it moves the wrong ones. Why wouldn't it? Life is pain. Okay. Okay. Now we'll just do it all by eye, because what the heck, why not? About there. About there. Again, it's just for a YouTube thumbnail. It doesn't matter if it's totally perfect. Go to about there. About there. I say it doesn't matter if it's perfect, and then I futz with it like my life depends on it. Oh, this is looking cool. Okay. Now let's see. Do I have a truck body I can bring into this view? I bet I do. Let's close that. Let's close that. Close that one. Let's go back to my designs and let's find us a truck body. And then we're gonna go raid King Lord Brian. We're gonna go hang out with on KLBR radio. Let's see. I know there's some truck bodies in here, and I would prefer one where we can see through the window, like one where it's see through. And I think this Blazer body, yeah, that's gonna work. I copy the Blazer. It's not the final piece for this, but that's okay. We're just making a thumbnail. It's just got to look pretty cool, you know? There we go. Let's get a view right on from the right here. Oh, it's at a bit of a jaunty angle that we're not really looking for. There we go. That's better. Let's bring it up to a height that we like. We're going to mess with that angle a little bit more. There we go. That's looking good. And now we just gotta size it. So let's first let's bring it over so that it's centered or at least pretty darned close. And then we're just gonna stretch until it looks right. And let's see, how's that look? Oh, that actually looks so cool. Wow. I may have to print this body and put one on here. Look at that. That looks so cool. And I don't think anything is really interacting poorly with it. I think it's pretty well behaved. I actually want to maybe stretch the body a little bit. And then if we sink it down, yeah, get a load of that. Yo, this looks super cool. Yo, I'm stoked. This is great. All right. Let's pick a body color. And if I'm doing a body like this, I think I want to go with whoa, since when does it give me this is how I pick colors? Usually it's yeah, there we go. Presets. Let's stick with that. Let's go with like a no problem yellow. Maybe something a little more like Mad Dog almost. What do we think? What's a good color on this? We can go like that's too dark. We gotta keep a light color so the lines show up. I think the yellow might be the answer. That's gonna stick out nice on a thumbnail. And let's see, what about these tires? Do we like the color on these tires for a thumbnail? Is it yeah, we don't want to go too light. I think we maybe we custom it. Okay, it gave us the option. Yeah, something like about there, I think looks good. Heck yeah, let's go. You guys, look at this. Look what we did. This is gonna be dope. Look how cool that looks. Oh snap, oh snap. The Grizz crew coming in hot. Toward the end of a toy making stream. We've just spent some time to the Grizz crew joining us. Shouts out to the Grizz crew. And instead of using the shout out feature because there's so many of the Grizz crew, I do have something specific that I programmed here. Boom, look at that. Look at that. We got the Grizz crew command for the Grizz crew. Give them a follow. Check them out. They do great work. We've been working on redesigning this 1992 Bigfoot Hot Wheels Champions monster truck. Very complicated chassis design, very different from my previous toys, getting all the fine details. And I'm happy to say the end result is looking really spiffy. This is going to be one of the first times I try to print a toy chassis out of resin, which is going to give me a lot more detail. I like the rise. I like how tall this is. I like the way it all sits. The sort of Lego looking tires that is actually from that Bigfoot series. This is the wider of the two tire types they had. They had two that came in the set, and I like the bigger ones. And parts of this are actually modeled from this, which I made during the COVID world shutdown era. This is the body is from a modern version of the snakebite monster truck, but all the rest of it, the entire rest of this chassis, is 3D printed, custom designed by me to look like my old toy set. So we've been talking about how at some point soon we're gonna do a whole stream where we just look at the custom toys that I've made. Um, let's see. Grizzly Kid 4 says, just check the donation page for epilepsy, and we made a total of $600. Yo, guys, let's go. Let me see some emotes in the chat for the Grizz crew. They're always raising money for a good cause, and you gotta respect it. They're doing great work. They do cool stuff. You gotta appreciate them doing this work. Um, but yeah, that is our design for now. I think this is gonna make for a lovely little YouTube thumbnail. I think it looks great. I'm finding the angle now so I can save it. Oh, look at that. I love. Now, if I can get the detail to print so we can look inside and see that engine from there, that's slick. That would be great. Yeah, look at that. Look at those emotes going wild in the chat. I'm gonna drop a couple in myself. I mean, came all this way. Oh, I lost a couple because my subscription to Frank Howley ended. That's a shame. There we go. All right. Like I said, we are going to raid King Lord Brian, KLBR Radio happy hour going on right now. It is a great time. He plays some great music, takes video requests from people. He's the man. It's a chill time. It's a great time to hang out. I will see you all over there because I will definitely be in the chat. I'm throwing it on while I go down to have my leg day workout. Shout out to the Grizz crew for coming in. Shout out to Bobby Gilbert for toughing out some early sickness and hanging out. Shout out to Ryan Nickabeans hanging out and crafting along with me. And I will see you all next week. Thank you, Nightbot. Thank you all. Take care, and I will see you over at KLBR Video Happy Hour going on over on the King Lord Brian channel. Please join me when you show up. Throw some Perry emotes into the chat. Let them know we're there. Take care, guys.